That makes it so easy for me now.
It slipped.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Today, we are going to do top 10 ugliest games that we still like to play anyways. Or I love. I picked all games on my list. I love these games.
Thoroughly enjoy all the games on my list.
I would say I think that I love every game on my list. Some of them I don't super consider ugly, maybe, but I accept that most people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any other caveats,
It's
guys?
subjective.
Yeah,
It is subjective. I had a hard time. I went upstairs and looked at my games, and I'm like, none of these are really
Yeah, I
that
know.
ugly.
Well,
So-
like, no, I
Oh.
seriously, I had a hard time at first, and then they started falling into place because I was like, oh, yeah, I guess that game's ugly. Like, but I don't think of it that
Like,
way.
okay, well, the art's ugly, but it's got some cool components. Or
Sure.
these components are terrible.
I've got at least 4 games on my list I know are in your collection.
I'm a bit offended.
Hey, Bob.
Have I improved the components in those games at all?
Oh, right.
Okay.
Bob, how many games are in your collection?
I don't know.
I have that many games about on my list.
Oh, wow.
And I have a lot of old Euros, so
Right.
there you go.
Yeah.
Also, Bob, what should the people do at home?
They should probably like and subscribe, ring the bell, share the videos with your friends. Make sure you comment below about what games you think are ugly.
Yes.
Especially from the ones that we've mentioned too, because
yeah.
we want to know how justified we are. Or like some of the games, I'll be like, I don't think this is ugly, and in the comments you're like, no, Dan, listen, that is the worst thing I've ever
Objectively
seen.
ugly.
We are getting dangerously close to 2,000 subscribers. gentlemen.
Dangerously close, Mike.
We are at 1,920-ish, closing in on 1,930. So a monumental achievement that
Yeah, I
needs
believe
to be
that's
spoken about.
People are
1930?
talking about it.
Is that when you were born? 1930?
Oh, nice.
Dude, you're not that much younger
Wow.
than me. So calm down.
1932.
Hey,
Hey.
32.
We're going to figure out something cool for 2,000
Yeah, we
subscribers.
are.
we haven't figured it out, but hey, subscribe if you haven't already.
1929 as of
Yep.
filming.
Hey, you were right. Closing in.
Closing in.
Yeah, we are almost there. Okay, guys. So yes, top 10 ugly games. So Mike's whole list is Clement Franz.
I was gonna say this could have also
One.
This list could also be called top 10 Aaliyah games, but it's not.
Got a bunch of those.
Yes. I just have Agricola written down 10 times. What's wrong
Yeah.
with that?
Did I mention I really
Well,
enjoy Stefan Feld games? It's my
My
whole
number
list.
10 is basically just a group of games.
Oh wow, nice.
All right, so Bob,
Yeah.
what is your number 10?
Ravensburger games. Like, so it's just the arts are just so bad on the box
I
cover.
mean, that's just like a
Castles of
fireball. You just
Burgundy.
yeah,
threw at
it's
like
all of them under the bus. There they go.
most of Germany. Is it Aruba Ravensburger?
Huh? No, it's Haba.
Oh, okay.
But like Las Vegas, the art on that box
Hideous.
is terrible.
You were right.
Bora Bora looks good. Bora Bora has a good looking box.
Wasn't that on your top 10
No, not really.
favorite?
No,
No,
That is pure bias coming from. Please ignore the board game rundown and it's
You're right,
not endorse
though.
that. Do not.
all Ravensburger games. Wow.
Yeah.
That
Sorry.
is hilarious way to start this. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have a couple.
I have several. Like half of
No, I mean on the
half of the
list.
Feld games I own are Ravensburger
Well,
games. Yeah.
I mean, I rest my case.
Exactly. No more questions, Your Honor.
I can't argue this. This is the thing.
That is so
Wow.
funny.
Bob, my only concern about you doing that now
Yeah.
Oh
is
man.
where's the rest of your list
Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
non-Ravensburger
You,
Yeah.
you might have peaked early, my
I
friend.
might well.
That is hilarious.
Wow.
Okay, so-
I mean,
So my number 10 is a newer game that I enjoy quite a bit, but I do find it really ugly, even though it's kind of on purpose. Ven.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, no, you talked about this in the review. Yeah, the Photoshop look.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's really ugly. I get it. They made a choice to do that on purpose.
Yep.
It's really like, and I think about it objectively, and it's like, it's not any different than some rando artwork generated, you know, that
Yep.
Dixit and whatever uses. I just find that more aesthetically pleasing than the,
Sure.
you know,
I mean, painting versus, I mean, obviously some of Ven is painted, but yeah, it has that, you know, clip art. They were like person, balloon,
yeah.
tree, and just made a picture.
Right,
of
and they're
clip art
different
images.
styles sometimes,
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And I think it's like hard on my brain, but I
Yeah.
still really enjoy that game. So it doesn't take away from my enjoyment. It's
Right.
just an ugly date.
yeah.
But I still have a
They're
good
still
time.
fun. Yeah. That happens.
Daniel.
Oh, me? Yeah, I forgot. So my number 10 is actually a game that I enjoy quite a bit, and it's not. It is a miss style of artwork that I think drops the game down, and that's Flashpoint Fire Rescue. I like it looks like a kid's toy. The art style that they
kinda.
chose looks like a kid's little thing, and the game is actually really fun,
It's
really
like
hard.
Playmobil art.
Yeah, exactly. Like if someone handed you to the board and said, "Oh, this is for the new Hot Wheels game they're making," you'd be like, "Yep. Yeah, that checks out." Like they just used a very bubbly, cartoony looking art for everything. And I just think that the game is really good.
Oh, it's so good.
And if that game had like a really dark, realistic looking art to it and stuff, and like if your characters were better than just like these, again, they look like toys. They look like army men, but they're firemen, right? And if the game had a more serious tone and everything, it would be like really high on my list.
It's
I
got a
really
serious
like
tone
it.
every time I play because everybody
You kill the
dies.
cat. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, and it completely mismatches the box art too.
That's
'Cause
true.
The
It
box
does not
art
fit the
is
box art at
similar to
all.
the art you're talking about wanting in the game, but the components in the board are nothing like the box art whatsoever.
And so it's not that I would call the art hideous, but I would say that for the style of game that I think the game is and the audience that I wish the game would bring in, it completely mismatches. It does not fit
sure.
the box and everything. And I think the game would be improved by having a slightly darker, more serious art style to it. It doesn't need realism, but like not Legos. That's all I'm saying.
I get it. And that's a game I enjoy. That could have been on my list.
Just for people, I wrote all this down and then didn't mention it at all. It's a 2 to 6 player game that plays in 45 minutes, designed by Kevin Lansing and published by Indie Board and Cards. So again, Indie Board and Cards, that's a good company.
Yeah, they got the reprint. No, maybe they had it.
I just write down the number one because otherwise I have to list 10 publishers. So whatever the number one is on Board Game Geek, But they make great games. Just darker artwork next time, guys. Who am I to say that?
All right, my number 10. After a short conversation before we started this video,
Ravensburger.
No,
game.
I am going to. No, I can't call an audible because I haven't played it, but I'll bring it to our honorable mentions. I actually don't think my number 10 is ugly. I think it has a lot of fantastic art. The problem is they didn't use any of it in a great location, and that is The Godfather: Corleone's Empire, designed by Eric Lang and published by Simon Games. Do you like that art?
Yeah.
On the box. You do?
That's
Great.
good.
You better, because it's everywhere. Okay. This box art is on the back of every card in the game. That box art is on 90% of the cards of the game in the front. Really? Because if you look at the rule book, it's a 25-page rule book.
You're right.
You can condense the rule book to 3 pages. It's been done on BNG. I've printed out. Those are the entire rules. That means there's 23 pages of art in the rule book that they don't use on any of the components. Really? Because the art in the rule book is stunning. Like, it looks good. It's more that style. And I like it a lot. And they use it for like the additional pieces you can recruit. Like there's a policeman, there's a mayor, and there's separate art for those cards.
And it's good.
But there's all this art for these missions you got to complete. It's like a 70 card deck. And it's all that art on the front and back.
And
there's 5 different types. You could have used 5 different types of art for each different type of mission you can complete. Who dropped the ball there?
The icons are kind of ugly. I get it. This is a miss.
I
this should have been on my list.
Really?
The icons are ugly.
It has fantastic art, and they just put it all in the rule book. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
There's some gorgeous art in that rule book. Put it on the cards, please. Like, do something. Also,
I'm going to bet that Bob doesn't even like the shape of that rule book, so
it's
he's
a
not
square
going
rule
through
book.
it.
Yes, it's way bigger than it should
I didn't even look
be.
at it. Like, square? Nope, not reading it.
But literally, the whole rule
We'll
book,
just wing it.
somebody made a rule book that's 3 pages. Like, you print it out, bam.
It's a very easy game to learn and teach.
Yeah, it's not hard, but man, they just really missed the mark in the usage of that art, even though I like it.
Man,
I think the board looks good too. It's got miniatures, like it's got good components, but like you commissioned somebody to make all of these paintings and you didn't use any of them in the game. Like that's a missed
opportunity.
opportunity.
No, that's a super interesting idea. See, I wouldn't have it on my list because I think the art is fantastic. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't belong here. But you're right that they just overused it completely. It's like, hey, we have this one picture that's really famous, like it's the cover of the movie and everything. Let's put on every single card in the game.
I can
You're
see having it all on the back. That's fine. But yeah, the front of it, you should have.
Yeah, you're right about that. For sure.
The other thing too, you mentioned the icons. There is this is the other reason that pushed me into including this on this list is because there's an icon in this game that just by looking at it, you'll never go, "Oh, that's what that means." Okay. So, it's a card. And what it means is draw 2, keep 1. But the icon is a card.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah, it's
And
not
there's-
like 2 splayed cards.
with an
Yeah.
arrow showing
Yeah.
keep one of these, which is another miss because there's other icons in the game that show take 2 money cards with an arrow to keep one and discard the other. Why couldn't you use the arrow for the 2 cards, the Godfather
remember
cards?
that.
Like,
That's
it just, every time I explain the game to somebody, they're like, you sure that means draw 2 cards and keep one? Yes, here's the rule book. Just fix the icon.
And
Like,
while you're in there, please enjoy the artwork.
yeah, enjoy all the gorgeous art because you won't see it anywhere else. So it's not an ugly game, but man, there's just issues with how that art was used. I had to put it as my number 10.
I mean, hey, again, while I wouldn't have it on my list because of what I said, it's very similar to my whole thing, to where Fire Rescue isn't hideous art, but it's just misplaced. It's
right.
misused, you know?
Absolutely.
So, no, I totally get it.
Number 9.
So I definitely prefer the other iterations of this game more than I do this one, but the art on this is atrocious. It makes me bring it down even more. Terra Mystica.
Wow,
Do
you don't
not
like the art
know.
on that.
I
don't like
think
the
it's
color palette.
hideous.
It's very hideous.
I don't mind
The
it at
aliens,
all.
the way the map looks, don't like it
Yep.
at all. I mean, like, but the gameplay is fun. Like I said, I enjoy the Gaia project a little bit more, but just the Terra Mystica, I don't care for that art.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Like, I don't love it, but I don't dislike
See,
it
Yeah.
either. Like, I think it's
don't-
okay.
I can't
No.
put it on. There's games that I am aware of that I
Mm-hmm.
cannot put on my list, or for my own rules that I set that I haven't played them.
Oh,
I
sure.
also wanted
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah, I
specifically
tried to-
have games
That you played.
that I played and like,
Right.
Because that's the other thing. Is
Right,
like,
and I
want
played
to
it. I
actively
like
really
it. I like
enjoy
the other
these.
one's better,
Sure.
but it is.
But I
really
own Terra
solid
Mystica. I
game.
haven't played it, but
Okay.
I see what you're saying with the art style.
Yeah.
Because there's some honorable mentions where I will go into like, I get it, I just don't like it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. No, I
me,
understand it did a thing, but I don't like the thing they did.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead and yell at me for this, but to me, Terra Mystica looks like the old Dungeons and Dragons artwork, but it's only drawings of dirt and grass.
Yeah.
You know,
map,
Some
yeah.
hills.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just like, you know, because you look at the old D&D artwork and it's stylized, and you look at a dragon, you're like, yeah, that's really cool. Like, most people like that. But then a picture, if they just drew a desert in that art style, and it's just like, oh, that's bland. you
Yeah,
know?
and actually, now that I think about it, some of my old D&D modules from like that 19, they do kind of, they look that way. That's how it looks. And, it looks like one of those maps. So,
Yeah, they can't all be amazing, you know.
true. That's
Iron
why
Maiden
we have this
album
list.
cover, artwork. Okay, so my number 8 is a game that I absolutely love. Or 9. My number 9.
Do
is-
you
Mine,
also
sir.
love your 9? Just wondering.
Ooh, I do love number 8 as well. Number 9 actually might have crossover on 8, but we'll get there when we get there. My number 9 is a game I absolutely love, and it's got some fantastic art in some spots, and then other spots it's just placeholder stuff. And I get it because it's trying to do what it's trying to do. Tammany Hall. So I love the
Yeah.
political cartoons used
Yes.
for the artwork. And then you just have this very bare bones kind of basic map that is very functional, but of all the districts as you're shifting people around, you know, your ethnic groups around in the different districts and everything. I love that game so much. It's not like the appearance of that game will stop me from playing it or introducing it to people, but I would never be like, I've got this beautiful game, you know. It's called Tammany Hall. Yeah, it's a great game. I'm really glad that Panasaurus picked it up and did the reprint, and they just reprint, like they didn't do anything different, and I'm fine with that. But
Could it have benefited from a makeover? Sure.
maybe,
Yeah.
maybe, but
Still fun though.
it's a great game.
Yeah.
It's a great game, and again, the political artwork on the
Yeah.
the cards, the old political cartoons, you know, from
Are
the
really
time,
good.
fantastic. You know, but I get it. I think they were really trying to keep everything to feel of the era, and you know, so you're
Maps
not going
back
to have
then
like
looked not very good.
a stylized, you know, hyper stylized map, you know, of New York for that era. So, you know, so anyways, it does its job. It's just not that pretty. So, Tammany Hall is my number 9.
We were just talking about my number 9 a little bit ago, Tim. This is a 3 to 6 player game by Avalon Hill, and that's
History of the
Betrayal
World.
at
Wow.
House on the Hill. Betrayal House on the Hill came out in 2004, 60 minutes long, designed by Bruce Glasgow and Rob Davio. And
Great game.
this is a game that quite a few games on my list fell under this category, which is why I think that it's just funny to kind of bring up. Is that if a game has had like 5 different versions of it and every version changes the artwork, there's probably an issue with the artwork.
Great
you
point.
know? And so Betrayal House the Hill has had like 6 versions. Now, some of those are like themed different. So you have like Baldur's Gate and you have Scooby-Doo and stuff. So obviously those are going to change the artwork. But Betrayal House of the Hill is just a really fun, chaotic game where you start up as it's cooperative and you're leveling up, and then halfway through the game, someone becomes evil due to something that happens, and now it's a 1v all game usually. It's not very well balanced.
Don't care.
And I just, the art is just meh.
And
it's not
also,
terrible.
It has some of the ugliest tokens. in
Sure.
any game. It's
Tokens
like, oh,
are
I
really
guess I'm
bad.
the S token for
Right.
this.
Yes. So many S tokens.
You
Yes.
know?
And just you found a secret hidden door. That is the black diamond token that says hidden door on it. Yeah. Like that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Have you played the newer version?
I have not played like the one that just came out. No, I haven't. I've played every other version. I think I don't remember if I played Baldur's Gate, but I've played like first edition, second edition, Scooby-Doo,
Legacy?
Legacy. Yep, I've played all of those. Legacy does have an upgrade in art. But yeah,
I mean, that box art's fire.
right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not. I don't know if I'd call it hideous, but it does not service the game as well as like the words on the cards do. I really like the universe the cards build. When you drop a game, when you draw a card and it says, you know, you hear creaking through this, and it like explains this whole thing in a skeleton arm bursting on the ground. Like it has really good atmosphere, and then the game just lets that down a little bit. You know, the box art, it's a good idea. I really like the green color with the haunted mansion, but it looks a little cheap. And you know, and the tiles just are bland, you know.
Yeah.
And so again, I don't know how you would fix it exactly. At the end of the day, I just find it a bit bland for the atmospheric game that they
You need
built.
more Easter eggs in the tiles.
Oh, sure, like a scythe kind of thing
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Sure. But anyway, my number 9, Betrayal at House on the Hill.
That's a pretty good pick.
All right, my number 9. It's time to stop pulling punches and bust out.
Every Awakened Realms game.
No, let's just
Lie.
let's just slay a dog that's already on its last leg. This game originally came out in 2010. It's ranked number 476, and it's a Martin Wallace game.
Oh.
It was the first Martin Wallace game I thoroughly enjoyed, but they had to make a second edition because of how ugly the art is on London. London is a
How is that
really...
different? Is that different than Brass?
It's very different.
Okay.
London is a totally different game than Brass.
Just checking, because Brass is also
Brass is-
super ugly.
The
Brass is
original
cool. Well, I've only
Brass
played it.
is
Old Brass,
ugly.
yeah.
The original
But I haven't
Age
played
of
it.
Industry that Lancashire is based on is also very hideous and has the most monotonous boards I've ever seen in my life. But London, every aspect of this game is disgusting. There is nothing appealing about this game to the human eye. There is nothing. The card art, terrible. The tokens that you use to represent a building that you're placing out on the board, it's disgusting. The
Slimy.
board is like this awful beige color.
You
but
open
like,
up the box and it smells like farts.
you're building London. I don't know why you've got this like beige-ish board. There's no deserts in London. Somebody should inform them.
It's actually
but
the exact opposite. It's like always dampy.
the box is the least
Also
ugly
an
part of it. But even the box is like this guy holding like, oh, here's the blueprint of London that we're gonna build.
It's
But
in this desert in England.
I mean,
We're gonna rip out all this water and bring in some sand.
I actually, the funny thing is, I had told Jason from the Board Game Mechanics that we were going to make this video, and I'm like, help me drum something up that I'm not thinking of. And this one didn't come to my mind right away because I played it years ago, but I really enjoyed the card play. It plays like Race Against the Galaxy, like you're spending cards to pay cards, and it's got a really good kind of engine building card thing going on. But it's so ugly. Even the box doesn't do it favors. It had to be on this list because it is truly a hideous game. The newer version looks a little better, but man, first edition London, you're going to throw up if you look at this. On the
But did you have
table.
fun playing it?
Yes.
Okay. You
Yeah,
hadn't mentioned that yet,
No,
so I wanted to
no,
make sure.
I did. I mentioned
Okay.
the card mechanic is really good.
Yeah.
So
See, it's funny because you told me that was going to be on your list, and my brain translated that into Brass because the first edition of Brass
it's awful.
is super ugly. Haven't played it yet, but I own
Age of
I own
Industry is
first edition
awful.
Brass. I don't have the nice new one.
Yeah, older editions. You could have thrown a few older Martin Wallace games on here, but this one, there is nothing good to look at in the entire box.
I'm honestly confused. Everything that you've said, I'm confused why Jason doesn't love the look of it.
Yeah.
It's beige. It's got tracks. It's
really
not to
bad.
love.
It's vomit inducing. Oh yeah, Jason's gonna love this.
All right, so
We are now to number 8.
So yeah, this was mentioned already a little bit. Caverna, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad.
You got
The bits are okay, right? The little shield tokens,
This was
the,
tempting.
the wheat and the coal is fine, but like the art is so bad.
I think Agricola looks worse.
I actually
Caverna
don't
looks
find
better.
Caverna ugly at all.
I didn't have a
Really?
problem with Caverna.
No,
I
there's
get
a lot
it, I
of
get it though.
beige.
You're saying the artwork you like on like the way they draw people and stuff. You don't like.
Yeah,
I just
and like
don't
the box
mind it.
art, don't like it. Yeah.
Oh, the box art doesn't bother me.
I think it's the board that's the worst part for me. It's a lot of beiges,
Yeah,
beiges.
let's
Oh,
just
well,
a
there
bunch
is
of
no board. If
green-
you're talking about where
yeah,
the
well,
cards
your picture
go.
player board.
Oh, I love the look of the player.
Yeah,
board.
that was not bad.
Player
Right? The
board's
little
okay.
especially
cave
playing
you're
the
digging
night
out.
side. You know,
Well, I mean, the board.
the other side of your player board is nighttime.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
The
exact
game
same
board is
thing.
covered by cards, but it
Right.
still does
Typically,
nothing.
yeah.
It's-
Sure,
It's very
that's what I'm
whole,
saying.
very
It's just a
bland.
gray stone wall, basically, that you lay cards
Yes, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
mind it. It's a
It
fantastic
takes a while. It takes a
game,
while.
though.
It's very crunchy, but I don't care for the art style.
on. I like that
I
Caverna
get it.
almost every tactic works.
I get it. His style of art is not for everybody, but that
Right.
was one of my favorite worker placement games for years. It still
Mine
is.
too.
Oh, it's really
Great
good.
game.
It's really good. So my number 8 is a game that I think if Dan doesn't have this on his list, I'll be surprised
Okay, I'm not going to tell you.
because I think that most people will find this game ugly, even though for me it makes perfect sense for what the game is.
Right.
Kind of like Tammany Hall.
Right,
Dune.
Dune. It is not on my list. I'll just say it.
It's ugly.
I actually don't think it's ugly.
I didn't
but
think
I
you
get
would
that
think it was
people-
ugly.
I get that people do think it's
That's
ugly.
that is how I feel.
Right.
I feel like nope, this is perfect. But if I were to show it to somebody that's not a fan of Dune,
Right.
you know, and the stuff, they'll make that.
It's like, it's kinda
Yeah,
plain.
they'll be like, "This is disgusting." Like Mike. was
See,
at
but
London.
unlike London, this board is tan.
Oh, actually,
because it's a desert.
So
It's a bit more
so it'd
thematic.
be weird if they made it like green.
Yeah, it's all lush. Yeah, and what blue? Like, hey, we're getting rid of all this sand. And we're gonna bring in all that water from London.
Yeah, extra water from London. Bring it
So the
over.
game of Dune is set in the UK? I didn't even know.
Say goodbye to spice. Spoiler alert.
No, but I get it though that like the art design they chose for the drawings of the people and stuff
Yeah.
people have complained about. I don't hate it.
It's fine. Dune House Secrets looks a lot better. Dune Imperium looks better.
Sure.
There are better looking Dune games.
Dune Imperium did it perfect out of everything I've seen. It has basically it does the Disney villainous thing that I've always said, where it's like screen grabs from the movie basically, but they're hand drawn.
Yeah,
They're like
yeah.
redrawn.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Because then the new Dune came out and it's just screen grabs. Terrible.
Side
So-
note, there's an excellent movie that the whole movie is like that. Scanner Darkly. Fantastic
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Uh,
Keanu Reeves.
yes. And it's super. I love that style. I
Yep.
appreciate like the boldness of it. And I thought that, like you just said, Dune Imperium, like nailed it. Nailed it. And I haven't
like
even
that
played that
style.
game a ton, but that art style is fantastic.
I like it.
And so you
Rotoscope.
look at that, and then you look at Dune, and you're
Right.
like,
Right.
not amazing, but the game is excellent. You know, and for what the game does, you're not. If you're that worried about the art when you're playing that game, you gonna lose because you're not.
You're
looking at
focusing on the wrong thing.
for sure. So that is my number 8. Dan.
My number 8, talk about screen grabs. It's not the newest Dune because I haven't played it. But Firefly the game is a game that I don't even know if you guys have played.
I have.
I have a copy, have not played.
I actually really enjoy it. It plays too long for what it is, but I really do enjoy it. Star Wars Outer Rim is
Yes.
basically the same game, but it plays in a third of the amount of time.
It looks better.
Right. And Firefly is not only all. Well, first of all, the Firefly universe is ugly. Right.
Yeah,
And so-
intentionally. It's a
yeah,
choice. Yeah.
intentionally. So when you get some of the card designs, they make perfect sense in universe, and it makes them ugly. Even like the design of like the money, it's just ugly. That's just like the universe Firefly is built of. Is everything's dirty and it's a mixed mash of China and America and like all these just things, and then the screen. So and then not only is it screen grabs, which I just think are almost
Yeah.
always terrible.
Yeah.
But they just chose the worst screen grabs. I mean, that game is hideous when you look at those cards. Like, really, you chose this picture of Malcolm Reynolds? He's just like 15 feet away from camera, like pointing his gun off screen. It's like you don't have like an epic, iconic face shot of him or something. Yeah, they just chose terrible ones. And it's a game that I thoroughly enjoy, that I think most hardcore Firefly fans will enjoy. It's kind of like what I say about the Dark Souls game, where there's gameplay issues. It's not the best game ever, but if you're a fan, it does justice.
You were there to be in that universe, right?
Yeah.
That's why you play that game. You know, you don't always play some of those games because it's the best game ever, but you play that game because you love that universe so much you just want to be in it and live in it for a little while.
And I think for that they did a great job. It's just, man, is it hard to get anyone who doesn't know Firefly to even look at that game?
Oh, for sure.
I think the problem is Nathan Fillion, not very photogenic.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
How do you say that about the hammer?
I know, right?
Oh god.
It's hammer time.
The hammer is never mind.
Yep. You keep your hammer to yourself, Dan.
Yeah, so the problem, where is that? The problem is, so that the estimated Gale Force 9 game, the estimated play time is 2 to 4 hours. Ooh. And it's just
That's not even counting teach.
And it's just like, man, yeah, it's rough.
It's an experience.
It is.
My number 8 is a game that we all know and love. These guys told me about this game. I raced out, bought it, and I've played it a bunch, and I absolutely love it.
Is it my number 7?
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised if it was on somebody else's list.
Oh,
It
no.
was, so you mentioned Bruce Glasgow.
Yep.
This is his game. It came out in 2017, produced
Nope.
by WizKids,
Nope.
and this is Fantasy Realms.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but first edition Fantasy Realms does nothing for me as far as the art.
It's
And
ugly.
the cards aren't even that good.
Should be on my list, but I forgot about it because of Marvel
don't own it.
Remix.
I mean, yeah. So to make this game better, they reprinted it and then they put different box art on it, and it's not any better.
This goes under my, the game's been remade 4 times with different
Yes.
art every time.
and then so they
Yeah.
made Marvel Remix, which has fantastic art and fantastic cards. And it's,
Red Rising,
Red Rising.
Star Wars, or
Like-
Star Trek Conflicts, or
Yep.
whatever that.
They also just made a new artwork version of Fantasy Realms, too.
Oh.
So,
I know they reprinted it at least once with more art. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. So I mean, both versions are awful though. Like, I'm sorry, but the art for both of those games is just not that
the
good.
new one is like with less awfulness,
Which-
like
it's a
3% less awful.
wait, no, Mike, I do have a question, though. Is it disgusting?
Yeah,
It's
but
not
1% more disgusting.
Okay.
I will get to some later that at least make me retch a little bit.
Oh.
This is not one of them.
I don't think I have any ritual.
But yeah, it's a shame because it's a really good game. Like Fantasy Realms is an awesome filler.
Yes.
You can play this game
Love
with
it.
anybody at support 6. You played in 20 minutes.
I mean, it's probably my number 1 filler at this point.
but yeah, the art not good. So that is why it's my number 8.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
Number 7.
7.
Yeah, we talked about it already. I thought Mike was all over it, but he wasn't. OG Brass.
oh,
Oh,
It's bad. I got the
yeah.
new version.
Yeah.
Like Brass is a great game, but the OG Brass
It
game
is.
is ugly.
it always
It-
confused me when people bring this up because I've only played the newer version of them.
Yeah,
and I'm
you're
like, these
Brass
games are
is beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
What are you
But at least they
talking
fixed
about?
it, right? So like, you know,
Right.
you have the old ugly version that they realized this is ugly. And they
Yeah.
revamped it, and the new version is beautiful, and the gameplay is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have yet to play Brass.
Yeah.
I bought the ugly one on a clearance table, actually here in the store, because I was
Nice.
like, I want it. I want it just to have it, so I could say,
Nostalgia.
"You want to see something really ugly?
No, not my selfie.
Show me.
You want to see a body?
Not this.
Yeah.
Something over here."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, OG Brass for
Yeah, no question.
sure. My number 7 is a very popular game. It is probably in the top 10 on BGG. It is a game that I
Oh.
do enjoy, despite that I complain about it a lot. It's just because I'd rather play it solo. Terraforming Mars. Super ugly game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I knew this would be on someone's list.
this is an honorable mention for me for
You
sure.
know,
Yeah. Boring pieces.
yeah.
The artwork is very kind of like random, but it's like hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Almost. Like some of
And-
them.
And I really like Terraforming Mars. It's just the more that I play it with other people, I don't want to play it with other people.
Oh, you're right. It's
Yeah.
not honorable mention for me. This is ones that we like that are ugly.
But I do like Terraforming Mars. My games,
I
I'm kind
enjoy
of
it.
going in like how much I like them. And
Yes.
I, or
Yeah, 'cause
whatever.
some of my games, like I think
Agreed.
I have like one or two, maybe not quite as ugly, but I
Oh.
like them more.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
You know what I
that's
mean?
definitely
Yeah.
how,
How I
especially
did
my
it as
top
well.
5, I think,
Yeah.
really are like that. So, but anyways, Terraforming Mars
Agreed.
is a really good game. It can overstay its welcome, but it
Yep.
is a really great engine builder. I love the theme. and it does a lot of really good things on the board. There's great expansions for it, and you can even deluxify it. Either you're by your, on your own, or you can buy the deluxe components, which do help. They don't replace the cards,
Right.
but, which is really where the issue is.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, Terraforming Mars, it's ugly, but it's a good game.
Yep. Agreed.
Yep.
7.
7.
So my number 7, I've probably said the name of this game 10 times today.
Uh-oh.
What game have I mentioned a
Oh,
lot today,
I
guys?
know. I
Long
know.
shot.
This is by R&R Games.
Not long shot.
And designed by Frank DiLorenzo, and that is Home
Home
Stretch.
Stretch.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew
this
what
is
you meant.
Yeah.
This is a 2 to 6 player like horse racing gambling game, and it is just chaotic, dumb fun. Every time we play it, we just blast the William Tell overture and just
Dun, dun, dun,
diddle it,
dun,
diddle it, diddle it, diddle it, diddle it. We're just like, come on, like yelling, and it's just the because it's like, come on. Yeah, it's just the dumbest thing ever. But boy, does this game look like it came out in the era it
Yeah.
belongs in.
It looks like it's
just-
a Milton Bradley
it's- yeah,
1972
exactly what it
release.
looks
It says 2012. Yeah, this looks like a 70s game for
Uh-huh.
sure. Like I own some games from the 70s. It fits right in with those games.
Yeah,
And-
like that and like Chopper Strike. Like,
right, exactly,
Right next to each
right
other.
next to each other. Yeah, so there's not really too much else to say. It's a horse racing game.
Super
It just-
fun, great game.
yeah, I love it. And it's just, boy, do you just ignore the look of it
Uh-huh.
when you're playing? That's
funny.
it.
I want to play this game so bad now.
I know.
Like,
You picked it up off my shelf the
very-
other day, and you're like, I want to play
I
this.
know this was
Yeah.
still in shrink. I
still in
thought.
shrink,
How do
yes.
you have such an old game still in shrink?
Because
That's
I played somebody
impressive.
else's copy.
Probably Dan's. All right.
Jason.
I actually
Jason's.
don't think I own it. I think I played like Levi's or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My number 7 is a small box game. It happens to be one of my favorite small box games. Came out in 2007. It's ranked 401. Published by Yellow, who makes some pretty good looking
Yellow's
games.
got
Yeah,
some
they do.
great artwork on their games.
But Steve Finn's Biblios, I absolutely love, and none of the art does this game any
I played
favors
Biblios once.
whatsoever. The box doesn't look that good, and of course the box is on the back of every card, and this is a card-driven game, so you've got
Gotta look at that every
70
time.
ugly cards.
Doesn't the box look like a book? I haven't played it in a long
It's
time.
got a magnetic lid that flips
Right.
open.
I just thought, doesn't the lid have like paper to where it looks like a book?
It doesn't.
I've played it a
No,
long time.
I have some other magnetic box covers that do look like books, but they didn't pull that off because it's a game about building your church's library, and you're drawing cards and you're drafting them, and then some of them you're going to bid on later. I think it's a fantastic filler. You're drawing cards, and then you're going to auction off for certain cards, so there's a very good tension at the end of the game. But I couldn't tell you. Like, none of the art stands out whatsoever. It's not just the box and all the back of the cards, but the front of the cards is just like complete filler. It just it does nothing for the game at all.
It's kind of like set collection-y, isn't it?
Yeah,
I
you're
played it
collecting.
a long time
You're
ago.
collecting
Me too.
sets of colors, and whoever has the highest sum total of
Yeah.
that color will win what that color is worth. That's based off of a die. There's ways to manipulate how much each category are worth. I really think it's a fantastic filler, and that's why I wanted to talk about it again. But man, the art is bad. They did redo it. It's called now For the King and Me, and they made it to where it supports 5, and they changed up some components, but primarily the art. The art looks way better on this version, but I love Biblios so much, you're not going to get me to buy another version of it. I think the box is bigger, which seems silly. I'd rather have a smaller box, but Biblios, hideous game, but tons of fun to play.
Right
To
on.
your point, I don't remember a single piece of artwork from the game, except I remember that font.
Oh,
Those,
sure.
like gold-looking,
Oh.
like scratchy-looking
Yeah.
font. I remember that. But
All right. Are we going on to number 6?
Number 6.
6.
You're right, Tim. Terraforming Mars.
I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good game.
It's a good game. I enjoy playing it. It does overstay its welcome a little bit. Like, I really don't mind, like, David comes and brings his, like, he's got a bag with all of the stuff in it.
Oh, sure.
That helps.
Sure.
But the cards are still ugly. They don't replace the cards.
Yeah, and I think for me, some of it is also the game has sort of run its course for me as
Yeah.
well. You know, like I played it a lot when it first came out, and like,
Just kind of drained your brain now.
yeah,
Just over
yeah, and it's It's not easy to look.
I don't dislike
like
the art enough to put it on my list, but
I
it's,
just think like it's
not
kind of
great.
boring too, right? Like,
It
oh, these
is.
are my trees. I'll put my hex down here with my cube on my trees to make sure that those are mine.
Yeah.
No, it's not good
Boring.
by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dual
yeah.
layered something somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Th-
That's why you gotta buy dual
The,
layers.
the ugly player boards that it comes with, like out of the
Yeah.
box. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
like that's like one of those games when you buy it, you're planning on buying aftermarket stuff for it. That's
you
like
really
you know
do.
because you buy it for the game gameplay is good, but pretty much everything in the box sucks. So you're buying new stuff for
Yeah,
it.
those metal cubes
You
like
know?
look cool, but they chip off. And
Yeah,
they're
so you're
kinda
buying different cubes,
generically-
you're buying
yeah.
player trays, you're buying like you're like looking to upgrade this whole game
Yeah.
if you want to play
Right.
it.
And then
Instantly.
you look at the price of Terraforming Mars. Is the game worth the price?
Yeah.
Eh.
Well,
it's
it's fun to play.
It's fun. So that is directly related to my number 6. So my number 6 is a game that I really enjoy. I think it's ugly, but do I want to spend the money that it takes to upgrade it? No, because nobody likes this game as much as I do. At least not in my group. My
DC
family
Deck
would
Builder.
play it. No, that game is beautiful, amazing art.
Go ahead.
Bleep all that out. No, it's Catan. I
yeah.
enjoy playing
Yeah,
Catan.
I do too.
Yeah.
Catan is ugly.
It is
Yes.
very ugly.
I know you don't like Catan. I enjoy Catan, but here's the
I do
thing:
as
is
well.
I'm not dropping $200 for a deluxe edition of Catan that
No.
nobody will play with me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
yes.
You know what I
Sure.
mean? It's like it's the deluxe edition
to
looks
make
really,
it look pretty.
looks really nice.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. But I don't want
right
to.
there.
It's right
Put your
underneath
glasses back
the
on.
shelf you were
It's
looking at.
like
But the
it's pretty
you know, it's an
boring.
evergreen. It's a game. It's an older game.
Yep.
And the art is bleh.
Yeah.
You know?
Here's the thing. I actually think it is worth putting the money into upgrading this one because I don't think it's too bad. You take the board, you stretch it out a bit, you make it black. Maybe you add a spaceship randomly.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, recolor the grass and the dirt to be, I don't know, planets.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, and it's probably worth upgrading to the better
Do we
version.
have that box
It
as
is.
well?
Well, we don't have.
Yeah,
We do.
That's
We
the
don't
old
have.
one.
That's
I
the
know.
OG version.
Yeah.
No,
Still not very
Starfarers. Starfarers is by far the best Catan, but I do enjoy. But Starfarers also would not be on this list because that game's beautiful.
Right.
exactly.
Tim, this is one of my honorable mentions because I also thoroughly enjoy Catan. I don't even need expansions. I enjoy
Yeah.
what comes right in that
Yes.
base box, and
like
the art does
negotiating.
nothing for that game. And yes, I love trading.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I
That's
really
why
like
we like the
Catan.
game.
And the Game of Thrones version of Catan does improve it a little bit
A lot.
because you've got the wall and stuff like that, and you've actually got like Game of Thrones
Snow
themed art
on the board.
Snow on the board, which is half a
snow
point
themed.
in
Yep.
the rating for Dan
That's
right,
right.
there.
Yeah. Bumps it right up. But like the
So-
artwork on those cards is terrible too, though.
It's not as bad as the regular Catan art.
The art on the brothers the Night Watch. Right?
I don't remember. Maybe they're
It's
bad.
awful.
It still looks. I'll tell you what. The board still looks better because you got the wall and
Oh,
everything north of
the
it.
wall helps, but the other tiles are basically the same
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
tiles,
yeah,
so it's
sure.
the same boring art on
Yeah.
those as well.
So I guess if I bought the deluxe edition stuff, I could use it for both multi-purpose.
Also,
There
do
you
you
go.
remember?
See.
now
if
we're
you-
on to something.
You don't see it very often, but first edition Catan, the card art, the card color mismatches. I forget which resource it is, but the card color mismatches the tile on the board.
Oh,
First
even better.
edition. Yes. I think it's the stone. I don't remember. We'll have to look it up.
Well,
but
it's hard to get gray right.
I don't remember which
all
one it
those
is, but one of them
gradients
mismatches.
of gray.
It's- like the first time I saw it, I'm like, "You sure that has to do with this?" Thankfully, I bought a newer edition where it matches.
There you go. There you go. All right, Dan. What is your number 6, please?
My number 6, I don't think any of you guys have played, but I've never talked to you guys about it. So it is a 1 to 4 player game that plays in 30 to 360 minutes.
What the fudge? Oh, it's Villainous.
That's actually really good. Designed by Tim Poles and published by Lookout Games. This is The Colonists.
Oh no, I haven't played it.
And this
played
is
it.
basically Twilight Imperium, the Euro game, because
Oh, wow.
it is a huge, huge, time-consuming, thinky Euro game when you're upgrading and stuff. And it actually does something. Now, I have not played it in quite a few years, but it does something interesting to where. So the reason it's 30 to 360 minutes is because you choose how many seasons you want to play through and stuff, basically. So when I played it, we only played through like 2 seasons, so we didn't play, the whole time. but there's a middle board made up of like hex tiles that are in lines, and you build a board out of that, and you have pieces on the board, and then you also have a player board that you're upgrading, kind of like, you know, it has the caverna stuff where you're putting tiles on it, and you're like, you know, you're getting houses for your people because you need to house your people, and you're getting, you know, you're getting a brewery because that will up morale. You know, you're just like upgrading. You're actually like building buildings. And then you're also almost having like a Taverns of Tiefenthal kind of thing, to where you're like removing pieces and stuff like that to upgrade. So like, you know, this is like I can hold 8 wood here, but if I pay stuff, I can take that piece out, and now it's like a dual layer thing that sits in, and now it says like 16 wood, right? And you're like upgrading your board that way too at the same time. And then the other thing the game has going on with it is, on your turn, you're moving your piece in this middle board, right? You have this piece and you're moving a certain amount of spaces, but you have to be able to take the action that's on every space you walk onto. So you have to plan your move, and you have to be like, okay, if I go here, I gain 3 wood. Then by going here, I can spend 2 wood to do this. Then by going here, and you're kind of planning out your piece's move, because you have to be able to take the action of every space you walk on. And it's just a really good, interesting Euro game that kind of just has that Caverna look to it. Like even the cover, if you look at it, has like, you know, the person standing there over the tan background kind of thing and stuff, right? And just for how interesting and deep and good the game is, the art just lets it down a little bit. I don't know if I'd say it's disgusting, but it's just a little bland and flat. And it didn't do any favors, and I like the game and remember the game that much that I just wanted to talk about it. So anyway, that's The Colonists.
Nice.
My number 6, I actually expect some crossover. I feel like Dan may have this on his list. It came out in 1999, and it's a Reiner Knizia game ranked 187. Bob already blanket statemented.
Yeah.
Is that past tense?
Blanket stated?
Blanket stated? Blanket statemented?
Made a blanket statement.
He made a blanket statement about Aaliyah and Ravensburger, who produced Ra.
Yep.
Ra's hideous. The box, all the components, all beiges and browns.
Ra should be on my list, but it's funny because I just finished my Pledge Manager for the
the new
deluxe,
one?
and I'm like, oh baby.
Oh, the new one
I can't
looks so much
I can't even
gorgeous.
think about the ugly old version
I
because
feel
I'm
like-
so excited for the new one.
I feel like
but
they
it should be on my list.
undersold how gigantic that first player token is. Like, it's just so huge.
cannot
But it
wait.
needed a reprint and a paint job so bad.
Did you
Ra is
get
a
it?
fantastic bidding game, and it is just not good to look at. It's
But I don't care.
borderline.
It's rough.
It's borderline
Well,
revolting.
especially imagine playing, because I don't know if you have. I haven't. Imagine playing with the original tiles. Like Bob
Yeah.
has upgraded tiles for us to
I
play.
do.
I've only played the original
Oh,
version.
okay. You haven't played
Oh.
Bob's version.
Nothing.
they're all
winged
campy.
out at all.
I got
Yeah, it is. There's a reason why people have pimped this
Upgrade
game
the
out,
game.
because it
Yeah.
needs it.
But it's
Badly.
so good.
But even with the upgraded bits, it's
It's
the same
a good
art.
game. I really was
good.
hoping
Yeah.
there would be crossover on this, because man, that is a good game that needed a paint job, but
that-
it's hideous.
It's a miss.
Technically, there's a crossover.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, technically. Yes.
it's his
It-
number 10.
Do I have the Raven?
It should be on my list.
I don't.
It should be on my list, but I don't own it, so I think that's why I missed one of the reasons
Yeah,
why
that
I missed
happens
it.
to me a lot too.
But
I over what I have.
But I do love that game so much, and it's so hideous.
Don't visibly projectile vomit, but I do make
That's because
noises
the game's
when
so
I see
good
it.
you forget.
Yes.
And
It
I haven't played.
blinds you.
I think maybe the very first time I used a normal bits, but then after I got my copy, it was missing pieces, so I just bought the upgraded bits.
Oh,
and so
right.
I'm used to playing with the upgraded bits, and I forget there's a
Ugh.
not so good
There's
version.
those chits.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't even coin capsule those, so double hideous. Just
You could
cut 'em
3D
into
print.
circles.
You could 3D print your own coin capsules, I guess.
There you go. Yeah, he's peeking
Oh,
over
hey,
it.
hey, remember how fun the game is.
We're
Sounds
walking
like a-
off that ledge.
Wow, Dan is just like, give me a Tums.
So number
5.
I'm not even sure why I'm participating in this list, because number 5, I had to enjoy the game, and I don't enjoy the base version of the game, but I do enjoy the Game of Thrones version of the game.
Oh,
Catan.
Wow.
You're like,
I know, right
just-
there.
You need to hate things
Yeah.
less, so you mentioned
I
them
guess.
earlier.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed the gameplay of this one. Like the wall does add some stuff to the normal
Yes.
Yep.
Catan that I do like, but I'm telling you, like not only
I
are
lo-
the tiles and stuff
I
terrible,
was wondering how you had that.
so
like,
much ready to go.
Yeah, like, right in your pocket.
I was like,
You were
oh,
like,
that's a
"You
good
mean
point.
this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, the artwork on those Brotherhood tiles
Yeah.
or cards is atrocious.
I have to look back
Yeah,
at
you have to
them,
look back
but-
at them. It's
I
bad.
just
don't
remember
like
the
that
board and the
style.
wall, and I like all
Yeah,
the stuff north of the wall.
Because we
Like,
highlight
it
the good
looks really
things.
good.
You know?
Yeah.
North of the wall.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
I don't
So-
want it.
That's
Funny.
good.
All right, hang on, wait. Let me. I'm gonna. I wish I could show the camera what my number 4 is.
I know.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
to
probably gonna
see.
list it as your number 5.
This
Actually,
thing- this-
you won't.
My number 4 is a game, or my number 5 is a game that will be on your. I would be shocked if it's not on your list. It is
Okay.
a great game. I know you love.
Okay.
Okay. I
Yeah.
know you love Smartphone.
Yes.
That game's ugly.
It is ugly.
I love the look of
Ish.
smartphone.
What?
I love the. That's the only thing I like about the game.
The dude on the box is okay.
That's the most exciting artwork in the whole thing.
I
is the
love that.
box
I mean, the
cover.
rest is very
Yeah.
clean and thematic.
That's what I
Yeah.
like
It
about
is.
Beyond
It's
the
very-
Sun.
But there's
not
no
a
art.
lot.
But if
Yeah,
you would
there's
have
no
shown
art.
me,
Lack of
if
art.
you, when I saw the box cover and I saw a picture of the board, I'm like, this game sucks. Then I played the game and I'm like, this game is amazing.
It's amazing. When I saw the box cover and the board, I was like, that game's awesome. And then I played it and I was like, this game sucks.
I mean, I guess it's the board is totally devoid of color. It's
yeah,
white
it's functional. The board is
It looks like
The board is dual
and
layered.
abstract countries drawn on it in blue.
No.
yeah,
Doesn't
no,
even
it's
have that.
just it's no,
Doesn't
it's
even
just
have
like a
that. The
bar.
countries are on there.
Yeah,
it's-
they're on there. It's a map.
the
It's a
It's a
over-
map. It's a world map.
and it's just overlays. Like here's for what's for New York, and here's for this. It's
And
all,
here's where the shipping lines connect to. You can
it's,
get your logistics in
It's
places.
all very
I'm
functional.
all about minimalistic.
it's all very
I
functional.
like how clean it is.
But I just don't
No.
find it to be an attractive game.
Yeah,
I like the
I guess
colors.
I
Strike
get
one,
that.
Tim.
What colors?
I thought you were
the
agreeing
light
with it.
blue,
No.
the
Well,
light
I
blue
just
and the
feel like the
white.
guy, like I said, I agree. The guy that are. I could take it or leave it, right? It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, it's
I don't
awesome,
mind
but
it.
I'm not like,
I mean,
it's
that-
not Caverna,
Hipster
right?
douche, hipster douche on the
Sure,
front.
but that's just the subject, not the
Tim, how
actual
did you get
art.
yourself on the front of that?
You know,
oh,
it's
no, wait, we
difficult.
should have made an Andrew
I
joke.
guess-
Yeah, we should.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. How did I get Andrew on there to model?
Where is it?
I guess to me it's on theme, and I like modern themes, and it does encapsulate that
Yeah.
theme well. So I don't.
I wouldn't have
consider
this
it
anywhere near
ugly,
it's
my
funny
list.
though because
but
you
there's
like
nothing.
you
to
say
it.
you like the theme and you like modern themes.
Yes.
Yet every game you talk about that you love is like a dry, musty
because
Euro.
there aren't enough games that have modern themes.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just.
There's not enough of them.
For all of you commenting right now, yes, we talked over each other for 10 minutes straight right there. But we were all very passionate about
We were,
smartphone,
yes.
okay?
We are not being disrespectful to you. We are being disrespectful to each other.
Which is okay.
Well, it's
That's
also
allowed.
because like 3 of us give this extremely high rankings. I'm one of them, and
Yeah.
Dan does not like the game. So
Smartphone is a
I
top.
gave it a pretty good rating. I
20
just don't like
game
playing
for
it.
me.
it's a top 20 game for me as well.
You know, I love
Borderline
it.
top 10.
I love it. Yeah, probably. very
Love
close.
smartphone.
Love
Yeah.
it. Give or take the art.
Okay,
Mostly give.
I'll allow it.
Daniel.
I'm a
My number 5, top 5.
Top 5.
So I'm actually expecting crossover on my number 5 because this is a Reiner Knizia game that came out in 1999. And that's Raw.
You can't say I'm expecting crossover.
Once you've already had it.
There's already been crossover.
So I was right.
He was foreshadowing.
There's nothing else for me to say, guys. Raw is an amazing game that is the most bland. I mean, I even like Egyptian like hieroglyphics and like their kind of art. The game is just so boring the way it has it in there. I just don't like that look at all. But while I'm playing, I forget that there's even art.
The game's so good, I forget
because
about the artwork.
again, I mean,
Agreed.
you could play Raw with like some marbles and a piece of paper. You know,
Yeah.
like
Pull out a blue marble. Pull out a blue marble. Oh, it's red again.
yeah, like it's just that solid of a push your luck game. So anyway, that's
Funny.
Raw.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yep. No surprise there.
No surprise.
No surprise. My number 5 is a game by Sebastian Dujardin,
I really wanted you to say Sebastian Bach.
You know, right?
published by Pearl Games. It's ranked number 452, and this is a fantastic engine builder called Deus.
Oh, never played. but
Deus
aware of.
box art, meh, it's okay.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
No, it's not in here.
Okay.
we used to have
The
Deus.
board tiles, no, not very good. The card art, eh. But what makes this go up my list, number 1, is how much I enjoy playing it. This game is a really good engine builder. to play a card, you have to pay the resources, pretty straightforward, but every card represents a building. So you have to build that building out onto the board. But then you have to start paying attention to adjacency. Additional buildings have to be played adjacent to buildings you've already played. You also can't play the same type of building on the same hex. So you have to plan ahead. There's 5 different types. I also really enjoy how this game works because not only do you keep the card out and it's part of your tableau, you play your newest card at the top of that type and you'll resolve every other card of that type first. So you're going to play that card and then bam, this one triggers. Then bam, this one triggers. Then bam, this one triggers. Then the card you just play finally triggers. So that combo effect is really fantastic. And I've never seen another game really quite pull that off the way this one does it. The other thing I really like about this game is that to get more cards, you discard cards, but discarding cards also give cards a separate action. So cards have a played effect. They also have a completely, totally different discard effect. And so discarding cards is actually satisfying. Like you're getting this additional benefit while also rebuilding your hand. And I think those two mechanics work extremely well. None of the art does the game any favors. And in fact, first edition, the resources are the wrong color. So the board for forest areas is green. Makes sense.
Checks out.
On the card, it shows it in green.
Checks
the resource for wood is brown.
Oh.
So you've got a green circle, but you use brown tokens for green circles. And like, really? They fixed that in second edition, but they didn't fix any of the other art that isn't very good anyway. But it is a really good engine building game called Deus that does not get enough love. Very fantastic engine builder. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Plays in about an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I'm sure Spencer would love it.
Super fun game.
I was just talking about that mechanic the other day. I don't know if you guys freaking remember what I was talking about. I was talking about games that do the put a card down and you activate every card in that slot, and I can't remember what game I was talking about now. That's annoying me because I compared it to
your Arcana. What was that game we just did?
Oh, yeah,
that was
Arcana
it,
Rising.
wasn't it?
Arcana
Yeah,
Rising.
that did it because I think that might have been
Because that
it.
moon effect triggers and you trigger all those
Right,
cards.
because then we
and,
were talking about, I think
Nice.
Nova does it a little bit, doesn't it? Pendulum does it a little bit.
Played it.
I haven't played Arc Nova. I've seen the cards laid out, and I thought that people were activating the
I don't
things.
remember
but-
that.
Anyway,
Not really, no.
I was just talking about that mechanic the other day. It's a great mechanic.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, Deus. Number 4?
Number four.
Number 4. Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of games that
Come on.
don't get enough attention.
I'm going to hurt some feelings.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
So no one's ever heard of this game, but Ben introduced me to it. I really liked it. You have to put your own stickers on the dice, which I do not like, and the artwork is kind of terrible. But you do get these cool like player boards. Dwarven Miner.
I think I played this with Ben.
Oh,
once.
have I played this with you?
I believe you probably have. Yeah. So you're rolling dice, and it's like sort of Yahtzee style because there's different like resources on each one. Depending on what resources you get, you'll spend those to build like toolkits or a rune book or armor or a weapon. And then depending on what items you got, you can hold them in your backpack. They can hold certain amounts of things. But then you'll take those items and turn them into recruit these big, huge tarot-sized type cards, like people with victory points to join your little club, and then they're going to give you points, and whoever has the most, gets to a certain point wins. But the art is terrible. And then, like I said, you like literally this. You put these stickers on the dice yourself. It tells you like what configuration, and that's terrible. Like I mean, it's just I
mean,
can't
that's a
stand
bad experience anyway.
that, right? But like I said, once you put all this together and you're playing, like the gameplay is actually really fun. Like trying to build these people, like the backpacks are really cool, and you're building these items. You can only hold so many, and you can roll like thiefy ones and steal things from people's backpack. But they can build like safes, and so you can try to put stuff into your safe. But if you roll enough thiefy things, you can take somebody's entire safe
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah, I think I did
Yeah.
play this once, but
Yeah,
I
you-
wouldn't remember the name.
Yeah, and they say the artwork on it is horrible, but like it's like Mike was saying, it's a game. It doesn't get enough attention, but it's a great little like dice roller.
Because I think he
kickstarted.
kickstarted it, got it in,
Uh-huh.
and then like I showed up to your house.
Yeah, this was years
and
ago.
we were this was years ago. We were just playing something while you were finishing doing something else, and like he showed me how to play real quick,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that was fine.
yeah, it was fun. It's only like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah,
maybe.
it didn't take very long.
Yeah,
and it
but
was
the
a quick
artwork
teach and
is
everything.
terrible.
Yeah, I barely remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything other than that I played that with him.
I actually took fingernail polish and like put it over. So because like the stickers, if you hold on, like people hold on to dice right all the time, and the stickers will start to kind of shift on there and stuff. So I kind of like lacquered the dice up a little bit to try to get them to not, come apart so easily. But terrible component.
Oof.
Yeah.
Ooh. So my number 4 is one of my all-time favorite games. It is a top 5 game for me.
Ooh.
And I think it's kind of ugly. I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
Just going to be honest with you guys. You can upgrade the heck out of this, but you still won't change
Probably did.
the cards in the board.
Mm-hmm.
They are functional, but it's ugly. Lords of Vegas.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know, I
Sure.
mean, the money does what it does. It's fine. But, you know, you upgrade, you get the chips, which are really nice. You can replace those, right? The board, like the strip, the board's okay.
Oh yeah, it comes with those little plastic tokens.
But
doesn't
those
it?
little clear, like discs
Oh, see,
that you put down.
I've only really played my version, and my version's awesome.
Oh, I'm a rich
Yeah.
man.
You know?
It's got little cool cars and stuff.
Yeah, those look really, it's easier to identify where
base
you're at.
game is awesome.
I wish the casino tiles were a little more exciting. The casino tiles are kind of blah.
Yeah.
You know, they just match. Like, it would be really cool
theme.
if it looked more like a casino as you built it instead of just, I've got these hollowed square tokens. You
and
know,
it's a
Right.
different,
tile.
slightly different color with a little bit of lines on there to make
Yeah,
it distinguish
yeah.
a little bit.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I freaking love that game. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not even what I would say the ugliest game on my list. I love this game more than the other games on my list.
sure.
And I just think it's kind of ugly.
Yeah, I forget. Like I was thinking, like, what games these those clear chips that like I wanted to put on there, and I think that was what it
Yeah.
was because like I know they use it in Letters from Whitechapel too, but like I love the little Jack figures. and
Because if
things
you're
like that, so
using
I did
the
put
purple,
Planet Defender.
if you're using the purple and the black, like it's really hard to tell.
that's like a thing for me now. Just like people try to do the same thing with the cubes, right? They use like a gray or a black and like a blue, a dark blue or something, and it's hard to tell them
Yeah,
apart. Or
like
a
don't
green.
don't do it.
Don't do those
Just
clear.
don't do it.
The clear
I don't think the
plastic.
board presence is terrible on this one. Like, I think it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually almost made it an honorable mention because the card art and the box art is just terrible.
Yeah,
like, it's not good.
Yeah, I don't have a box. I have a briefcase.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that looks great.
It does. It
It's
does.
brown.
It is. Wow.
Yeah, that game's hideous. And let's just say the looks match the personality.
Disregard everything Dan's saying when it comes to Lords of Vegas.
Yeah, seriously.
Talk about vomit inducing.
All right, all right,
Hi,
Dan.
Dan.
Disgusting.
Why don't you just talk about how ugly
a
Scythe
blast.
is then?
What?
I'm just trying to be mean. It's not ugly.
Watch your mouth.
So, actually, number 4 is the one game on my list that I actually don't find hideous, but it is kind of like what you said with Dune, to where I accept that most people do. Everyone who does not know this theme, and I have shown the game to, is like, ugh. And that's Battlestar Galactica,
Oh,
the board
sure.
game, by Corey Kanishka in Fantasy Flight Games. It's a game that I think it's the only game in existence that pulls off screen grabs. I don't know how to do it. I think they look totally acceptable.
It all works
in the game.
I love the cards with Gaius Baltar.
Yep. It's it's screen grabs. That's the main thing. And yes, the art on the board and stuff is like purposely a bit drab and bland, but I just think that it perfectly it's atmospheric. It perfectly pulls you in to the universe and stuff. Like if you've seen the show, it does an amazing job of capturing the first episode of the show with that 33 minutes idea of like launching, everything catches up, launching, everything catches up, and I just think it's a fantastic game. And everyone that I have shown that game to that doesn't love the show is like, oh, this game's kind of like ugly, huh? How much was this? I was like, oh.
So you know what's funny? What's funny, Dan, is that like I agree with everything you're saying, but because I enjoy the game and I think that they nail it, like the artwork nails it for the gameplay and everything, that I wouldn't have even considered it being ugly. But I agree that other people that don't care about the IP or whatever would just come in cold and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
I love the box, even though it's literally just the DVD wallpaper.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love it. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah.
And, total bias. But I think it's the only game I've played that pulls off screen grabs. They do it perfectly.
Nailed it.
To where then you play Firefly and you're like, oh, this is how to not do screen
Yeah.
grabs.
Well, they actually use good pictures.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's it. Battlestar Galactica, the board game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Every game I've played with a screen grab, it usually doesn't work. But I
Yeah.
haven't played Battlestar, so
Have you seen the show, though?
No.
Because the screen grabs won't work for you then probably. You won't understand.
They may not.
Way out of context.
They may not mean as much to you
Yeah.
as they mean to fans of the show.
My number 4, this artist was already mentioned, Clemens Franz, the artist for Caverna. He also did art for TMG and DLP for Rainer Stockhausen's highly regarded game of Orleans.
Oh, I love Orleans.
That was
Yeah,
gonna be
that
my
is
honorable
a
mention.
great game, but my goodness,
It's
don't
not.
judge it by its cover.
I guess I don't feel like it's ugly because I feel like it feels like medieval.
era.
It feels like the era.
It feels like
Yes.
the era, so I'm playing
Yeah,
a
but
game
it's not-
specifically for that era.
Yep.
The game's not thematic at all, though, so it doesn't put me into a theme because when I
Right.
play it, I feel no
Right.
theme.
There's no atmosphere to that.
There
You're just
isn't.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what you're actually
Not-
trying to do.
yeah, not
I
to
just-
mention-
the play.
you're
Bag
pulling-
building.
you're
Right.
pulling- yeah.
Bag building, worker placement.
Exactly.
It just doesn't put me in that theme, even though the different workers
Sure.
do different things.
Sure.
Great game, awesome mechanics. That's why I enjoy the game tremendously. But that art style is kind of weird. I also don't like how the guy looks like his hand or wrist is broken on the box. I'll show you
make
guys
fun
again
of it.
later.
Yeah,
It's
Sir
got this
Broken
weird
Wrist.
Yeah, I know what you're
hand.
talking about.
I've never been able to get over that
Can't do
weird
that
hand
90 degree,
positioning.
like,
It's
yeah.
not back there.
It's
I
not back
probably
there.
would have pulled it out if
No,
we had it
I know
there.
if we go right on the other side of that wall,
It's
it is
over
like
there.
right
Yeah,
over there.
it's for
right.
sale over
Like,
there.
I know
but
exactly where it
the
is.
box also has some beige on it. The entire board is like beige with
lot
just
of
flashes
beige.
of color of the
Yep.
type of workers you can get. I'm sorry, it's a hideous game, but it is fantastic to play, and that is why it's ranked number 31. So
Nice.
Yeah, Orleans.
All right, number 3.
Oh my goodness. Top 3.
Oh, it's gonna start hurting even more.
I really like this game. I've got a problem with it for multiple reasons, though. Well, one, the art. Right?
Oh, that's good. It
Yeah, it's
belongs
good
on the
art.
list.
Yeah, yeah.
wow.
Oh, so apropos of the episode.
Correct.
Got it.
And the other thing is like sometimes the art on the cards like they don't match the color of the dice. So Coimbra, right? So we recently played this. I don't care for that art style very much. It's almost like a cartoony version of Orleanish. Like it's kind of like a bubbly looking characters, but I don't really care for the art style at all.
Yeah.
And the colors of the dice don't necessarily match on the cards don't match the color of the dice. I had a hard time telling which one's the gray, which one's the purple. I'm gonna have to like write on my copy in order to play it correctly. And anytime I do that, it's a strike against it as far as
Sure.
art and choices and whatnot.
Yeah.
All I really remember is like those little holders. For
The holders are
dice. And
fantastic.
then I felt like where there are colors, the colors really pop on the board.
Is this one where you're playing through like different eras? Like it's like a Civ buildy supposed to feeling game?
No,
Okay.
No, you're like the first player's like rolling a bunch of dice, and then you're going one at a time and drafting them. And then there's all these cards laid out, and you're gonna like place your dice in those different spaces to bid on those cards, and they're gonna go into order. So the highest bid gets their choice first, but depending on what color dice you have determines what color card you can buy. And so having to make sure that those all align up can be tough. Like I can look at the die and kind of like separate them and figure it out, but then comparing the card to the dice, like the color is slightly off. And they have icons on a lot of it, which definitely helps, but there's some parts where it doesn't. And then I'm like, and those are like strategy kind of things. I want to be like, was that a purple? And they're like, why are you
Yeah.
on the purple die? You know, so so we were just kind of
That's
like
tough.
separating them,
Okay.
and that kind of helped. But still, even like the cards, like when they are out there, when I'm trying to place my bet on it, I don't want to ask them which card that what color that is.
No, you don't want to
you
do
know,
that in a game where
so-
you're trying to be competitive at, for
Yeah,
sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I
You
enjoyed
can always
that
ask
game
me about.
tremendously. It was the first time I played it was at JuliaCon. I really liked it. I put it on my favorites of the JuliaCon list. But yeah, the fact that actually makes the game almost unplayable for you is a true shame because
Yeah.
it is a fantastic game.
yeah, like I say, I'll edit my copy, and then if we want to play it places, I'll just bring mine. I really don't mind having to put marks on it, but it does a strike against it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sure,
No, I mean,
I
I
get it.
think that's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
Totally fair. Number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, number 3.
Top
You guys
3
ready?
Ugliest games
I'm gonna get.
ever.
I'm gonna get a super dirty look from right over
Oh,
here.
okay.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be
Wow.
bad. This is a fantastic game. I think
At least he's caveating it.
everybody.
Here we go.
Hey,
Let me wind this guy
top
up here.
my top 3, like especially my next 2 are in my top 5
Okay.
favorite games of all time.
Wow.
Um,
Oh yeah, it's one of them is.
I just
super
like
ugly.
pretty games.
my number 3 is a fantastic game. It is one of my favorite games. I know this is one of your favorite games that has been mentioned already, but not as somebody's list. But it is ugly. Letters from Whitechapel.
No, it is not.
It is ugly.
The board's really ugly.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
No,
It's a-
it's not.
It's a
ugly.
beige map.
With
It's
numbers.
literally
Sure.
a map.
Yeah, it's a
just
map of
numbers.
London. Well, not
With
London. Of
numbers.
Whitechapel.
What on
It's
that board
sub-
reminds you of London?
The,
Oh,
you
it's
mean
the
just
desert?
streets
England.
and
The
stuff?
desert?
It was all the desert.
Again?
I literally, I was scrolling
I
through
don't
my
think it's ugly
collection
at
and
all.
past Letters of Whitechapel, and I was like, no, that game's gorgeous. And
Yeah,
kept
like I
scrolling.
like the art on the cover of the box is fine.
No, I
you
like
know?
that.
The little meeples are cool, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's not art anyway, but
well, sure, it's an art decision that was made, you know, for the
guess.
component.
components.
The cop card things that you get are the actual people, you know.
Yeah, no, it's
so-
fine. I just don't find it that appealing.
oh, I
think
it's-
love it.
I feel like it is dripping in theme, and like
Yes.
Tammany Hall, it makes sense for what it is.
Okay, sure.
I guess your whole thing with Orleans was like, oh, well, it's like it fits the era and stuff. I mean, that's literally, it's just a map of London, like that looks like it's from that era kind of thing.
I didn't
just
tell
think-
him he was wrong with Orleans. I just said it fits the
No,
era.
but he was, and now whoever's talking is wrong. I forgot where we're
It was
talking. I
me.
forgot what we're talking
It was
about.
me.
I mean,
You were
totally
talking
honest.
Everybody else is wrong. Tim is right.
This
As long as
This
we're
has
all-
got Dan so flustered that he started attacking Bob for my pick. When
Mike,
he is-
speaking of,
on
let
yours.
me just come at you for a second, Mike.
You should.
Bob is on your
I
side.
agree, though.
No,
but,
this game's gorgeous.
but again, I don't think it's even as ugly. I don't think it's uglier than Terraforming Mars. I just like this way more.
Sure.
You know,
I agree. The order of my list is confusing. I didn't
yeah,
know what to do.
no,
Yeah,
it's all
balancing
kind
those
of
two, like ugliness versus my enjoyment.
yeah, and it's so I think it is a game where if you walk by table presence wise, you might be like, "Ugh, that looks kind of drab," but you sit down and you play it, and it all makes sense. It
Yeah.
all makes sense.
I don't know. I see those Top Hat Jack figures and I think they're cool. And while I was talking about how I hate the clear tokens,
Yeah.
it makes sense. It's a blood splatter.
No, those
literally a puddle of
for
blood.
that game. They are not detrimental to the
gameplay.
gameplay like Lords of Vegas can
Right,
be.
okay,
right.
gotcha.
There's also like
So-
4 on the board at a time or something.
Now, okay, to Tim's
If they
point,
can
though,
find
I
me.
played this game for the first time only a few weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you know, I had heard tons of things about it, and it's been out for a while. And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, if you want to play a good hidden
Yeah,
movement
2012
game,
or
play
something,
this
yeah.
classic." I'm like, "All right, I'm not going to look up any more on this game. Eventually, somebody will teach it to me." And then Bob set the board out, and I'm like, "What are we doing?" It just,
Well, because
I
well,
didn't
here's
get
the-
excited based on seeing the board or the components out.
But-
I wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to play this." I was
But-
like, "Oh boy."
No, but I mean, you play so some other hidden movement games, right? You play like Fury of Dracula. You know what I mean? Beautiful board.
Gray board, but
played
tan
it.
board. Boring.
Map
Tan.
of Europe.
Boring.
It looks good.
Haven't played it.
When did Europe get all that sand?
When it
Spectre
stopped
Ops-
being dampy.
Spectre Ops looks really good.
Spectre Ops looks good.
Yeah.
You know, last Friday looks good.
Sniper Elite.
Yeah, actually, the board does look good on that. I just wish the game was half as good as the okay artwork.
I'll let you play as the sniper.
But anyways, I really love Letters from Whitechapel. I just think that if you're not into the theme, you're gonna walk by and very easily dismiss that
Yeah, meh.
by the table presence and
Sure,
looking
I
good.
could see looking at the table and going, meh.
Right, for sure.
I'll grant you that.
I
Thank
couldn't.
As you should.
Now, Dan, you may attack Bob for disagreeing.
For matting it?
Because he said I would.
What did we talk about?
You'll be good.
My number 3, Bob.
Uh-oh.
It's my second Aaliyah Ravensburger game. Should have been a whole
I should have just
category.
like sat down by
guess.
number 10 and just walked away.
Yeah, they'll cover them later. Okay, so this is a 2002 game. When I first played it, it blew my mind. I was just like, oh, this is a game that still holds up. It's regarded as like an evergreen classic. Usually I disagree with those, and I think this one 100% is right, and it's Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Puerto Rico is fantastic. When I played it, I was not expecting to like it at all. Usually when you play an evergreen classic game, you're like, why?
Yeah,
Why do you think this is
okay.
evergreen? There's 8 million versions of this game that are better.
That have improved on it,
and
yeah.
I played Puerto Rico, and I was just like, holy crap, this
Yeah.
game is awesome.
It is good.
And I love Puerto Rico, but at the end of the day, it's an Aaliyah game. That is here somewhere. I don't know where
Yeah,
it is.
there's a
I don't know where that's
yeah,
hiding.
Mike's been messing them all up.
But yeah, I mean, classic tan cover with the like the blue cutout
Yeah.
that doesn't go all the way to the edge. I mean, it's the classic
Yeah.
Leah look. It's terrible. The board does not improve on that at all. The tiles of the buildings do not improve on that
You know-
at all.
you know what- you know what it's
The
got a
little
lot of?
faces.
Tan.
Yeah, it has a lot of tan. Well, Puerto Rico
Does have sand.
Well,
But the
damp
little
lately.
pieces that are like
Yeah.
your resources don't do it
Dampy.
any favors. Like just everything about the game is unattractive, and then you play it, and I mean it's like a freaking 9.5 out of 10 game. It's just fantastic. So anyway,
that rating you heard here. Our board game right now.
is,
gives it a-
It's getting a reprint, so they're
Yep.
going to make it
well,
prettier.
it's had quite a few. You know, another one of those.
Well, I
that's
mean,
had
a
quite few.
completely different edition with new
Right.
art and everything like
Right.
that. It's also ugly, which is why I did not put it on the display.
But you did
Classic great games deserve to be shown. That's all I'm saying.
Kalis is over there. There you go.
That's a,
Yeah.
that is,
God, Mike,
Now,
what were you
look.
thinking?
I want to put up an
hold on.
ugly game that wasn't on my list.
hold on a second. I have never played this game, but if I did, assuming I liked it,
It is.
this is pretty hideous.
It's
Now,
ugly.
I played the newer version that has much better.
I have, and I considered it.
that even on the back,
That's
still
why
looks
I
pretty
chose
ugly.
to
So
put
much
it up
tan.
there before we
That's
started.
because that's red and green.
It fits the theme
No,
perfectly. Yeah, that's a hideous game, but it is
terrible.
very good and mean. Okay, so my number 3, I almost kind of revel
The Rebellion.
revel in the fact that I'm going to squeeze 2 CMON games on this list because I made Rising Sun my number 1 for most gorgeous game I've ever played. I could have a 3-way tie with Blood Rage and Ankh. They make so many good-looking games.
I was like, don't you dare put
I
Blood Rage
know.
and Ankh
No,
in your
no, no,
Yeah,
these
right?
games. I
No,
was
no,
going to
no.
throw something.
I was talking about the
trilogy.
greatest component.
Yeah, for sure.
But as
Gotcha.
far as ugly games, I'm sorry, but Palo Mayori, it's number 264, came out in 2017,
Never
but
played it.
Ethnos does not look good.
That was the
Oh, I played Ethnos.
Ethnos is just not good. The box, the box has cool art on it, but because of the color scheme that they chose, it just looks like a bunch of browns and browns and grays. They all just blend together. And then you take the card art and it's just zoomed in versions of the box. So it's a fantasy
Like,
theme.
look, we bought one piece of art.
We gotta make it last.
It's very busy.
Hey, we've got a drawing of an orc here, and then a drawing of a goblin here, and then a drawing of a wizard here. So for the faction cards, let's just zoom in on that art.
That's hilarious.
Yuck. Yuck. The card art doesn't look bad because at least it's the zoom in version. You get a little bit more detail. Then the board is just flat out wretched. Like the
Boring.
board is so boring.
I don't even remember.
There
what the board
is
for it
no
looks like.
table presence
know I
to
played
this
this
game.
game.
Just very drab looking board. But it's an awesome game to play. It plays
fun.
6. It plays in an hour and a half or less. It has a really quick kind of turn. It's just you're either playing a card or you're drawing a card. And that's it. It goes really quick around. It plays 3 rounds. The more cards you play, the more points you get, the more abilities that you get. I really enjoy Ethnos, but they really missed the mark on the art style for this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only seen it. I haven't played it. And yeah, it's kind of famous for getting made fun of for that.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Great game, though.
I played it. I know I played it. I just don't remember anything about it. And I remembered liking it when I played it. I played it
Anytime-
at my sister's, I'm pretty sure.
If I need
mean,
a
you might have even
game
played
that
it.
has, strategy and interesting decisions to
own
go up to 6, like it's one of my go-tos. So
Yeah, I mean, I
Area
remember
majority.
playing
Yeah.
it and
Area
going,
majority,
I should get this, and then
Card
just
drafting,
didn't for whatever reason,
set
and now
collecting.
I've forgotten all
Yeah,
about it.
I've got it at home. I got it cheap on a trade or something.
Oh,
Like that.
sure.
it's got like 8 factions, and you only play with
Yep.
4 or 5 of them. So there's tons of replayability.
Well, that's because you
get-
can only zoom in on so many different parts of the
Exactly.
lid.
All right. So number 2. I really like this game. It is a very dry Euro game. Probably one of the first ones that I played that introduced me to like the bump mechanics and whatnot. Hansa Teutonicus. Yeah. The art is atrocious.
so dry.
It is. It's like I haven't had any wine that dry. I mean, it's like it's very Dune dry. But I mean, the board is kind of
London
busy.
dry?
There's like towns, London dry. And the
That's
different
dampy.
trade routes going all around the place. So the board's a little busy, but man, like just the art style it's just it's bad. It's
Yeah. I remember you talking about this before with games that you really like, but just are just
yeah. It's a small box. There's a couple expansions for it and whatnot, but you look at it and like you just look at the box art, you're just like, okay, what does this game even do?
I don't think I've ever even seen this game.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen it on my shelf because it's right there by like a bunch of games
Well,
you like,
obviously,
like
it
Tapestry.
was not
and-
very memorable.
Oh, you
Exactly.
exactly. Like games you liked. I thought you were gonna say like smartphone and Quacks and
No, but Karuba and Orleone and all them are kind of up there too. But
Hansa Teutonica.
yeah, Hansa Teutonica.
So
It's a fun game though.
Mike,
You're wrong.
you absolutely nailed
You
something.
nailed it.
Oh, yes.
You
Don't
nailed
tell
something
him that.
earlier, and I was like, oh, wow, because this is going to slingshot all the way back to my number 2 when you started talking about your problems with The Godfather.
Okay.
This game, I flippin' love this game. It has amazing artwork that is nowhere on the board, only basically in the rule book and like a little bit on your player boards.
Uh-oh.
And it has some of the darkest, creepiest, most amazing artwork in any board game. Like I follow this artist on Facebook. Pete has commissioned artwork from this guy. Cthulhu Wars has got the ugliest board,
Oh yeah.
but there is the artwork of the factions.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything
nowhere.
in the rule
It's
book.
nowhere.
But in the rule book, you know, you're like, oh, this is all dark and creepy, amazing.
Order prints and stuff.
Yeah. And then, you know, and you've got these great miniatures that you just put on this very ugly board.
Yeah, you're like, I would
The
like to go
board
from
is
the light blue
atrocious.
ugly area to the pink ugly area, please.
Really, you know.
I was kind of surprised that the water was blue.
I know. Shocking
Yeah.
that they care that much.
Yeah.
You know, and then if you just buy the base game, the gates that come in the game are really ugly.
They're very bad. I know.
You know-
I forget that there's normal versions of this.
Yeah. No,
terrible.
We're so bad.
we're
Don't
snobs.
include the rest of us.
Yeah.
I meant we.
Royal we.
This side of the table.
The royal we.
Yeah, the royal.
Just the royal, because
yeah,
they're the royals.
royalties,
God.
yeah.
No, but there's so many ugly things about this game, but I love this game. I absolutely love this game. It's one of my all-time favorite games. Again, like the Kickstarter, right? When you're looking at 7 years ago when that was on Kickstarter, and it was, and you're looking at the Kickstarter page with all the artwork and everything, you're like, this is so beautiful. And there's nothing that uses any of that
Wow.
artwork, you know, and it's like, now all the miniatures and everything are great. And they clearly
Sure.
base all the sculpts off of that artwork. And they do a very good job of transitioning that, right? And transferring it over. But the board is so ugly. The
is.
basic gates are so ugly, and it's just like, okay, well, thanks for that. Like desecration tokens, ugly. You know, ugly,
Yeah.
ugly game. But I love it. It's one of my all-time favorites. and
Yeah,
it's an ugly game.
I just don't understand having somebody take all that time and effort into making beautiful art and then you hide it all in the rule book. Like that just
Well, again, though, you said that earlier with Godfather, and I was like, you son of a bitch. Because I was just going to complain about it for my
Yeah.
game. So, yeah.
It'd be cool if they did like little like faction pamphlets that you could put more of that artwork in. And
Yeah,
stuff like
just
that.
something.
Yeah.
Something to use it.
Yeah.
You paid for it.
yeah,
Use it.
right.
But Dan, number 2 for you, sir.
Dan, number 2 for you,
If
sir.
you say DC Deck Builder, I must stab you in the eye.
I have to like the game for it to be on this.
Fair.
You missed that caveat, didn't you?
So my number 2, Bob was just talking earlier today about how ugly this game is, and he's excited that a newer version, prettier version, is going to be delivered soon.
We can't keep putting Ra on the list.
I know, right?
You can just see the corner in this camera right
Oh.
here. Tales of the Arabian Nights is a game that I love. I get that a lot of people don't. It's more of a storytelling
No.
experience.
I'm looking at that box cover. I think that box cover is fantastic.
Box cover's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it turns out that the Arabian Nights all take place in a desert.
I didn't know. And London.
So yeah, I love.
Oh, yeah, this is terrible.
Yeah. Well, the board is just super bland. The art design is just super bland. You got your standees in the game. It is a game that most people just scoff at. Art and gameplay. And I love
These
the
are ugly.
gameplay.
Yeah, that's your player board.
Yep, that little matrix, that little dot matrix is how you make decisions.
Which
in
I
that
love.
Game. Yeah, I love it too. But yeah, I mean, look at this. Oh, Look at this. We're just doing an unboxing now.
Yeah.
The person
Oh God.
The person to your left holds this, and when you do an encounter, depending on what you choose with that matrix, they turn to encounters and they read you, and you have choices that you
Now
make.
this sounds like a hellish experience for Mike, but I like this kind of stuff. But look at the people. Like I don't like the way
Yeah.
they draw their people at
Well,
all.
look at these tokens.
These tokens are horrible.
I mean, I don't even know if we're using the top-down camera right now. Hey, this is the first time in a top 10 we have a reason to use the top-down camera. The tokens are just rough. There's standees in there somewhere.
This guy has no neck.
This guy. Oh my God!
This
Look,
man
Matt, top-down
has no
camera. But anyway.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, it's just a game that gets kind of crapped on a lot, and it's just too bad because I love the storytelling experience, the character building experience that this game gives you, where you just
Or it's
sit
too
down,
dark.
you make choices, and you play through a story that is different every time. It's almost like a structured D&D kind of thing is really what you're doing with
This
Tales of the
mess
Arabian
in front of
Nights.
me.
But
I like
anyway,
the cover of the box.
I do too.
I think the cover of the box looks
I don't
really
mind
good.
the font.
No, I don't mind the font at all.
Very appropriate.
Yep. But anyway, Tales of the Arabian Nights by Z-Man Games, as you just saw, 1 to 6 players, 120 minutes. Depends on the
Depends.
players.
That genie's
Prison
a little
Simulator.
intense.
Yeah, it could be way shorter, could be way longer.
30 to 300 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's another one of those, yeah.
Villainous Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I enjoy the game that much that I wanted to talk about it, even though people find it very bland.
Sure.
My number 2, I knew I was going to include a Stefan Feld game on my list. There is no surprise there because I love almost all of his designs. It was just really which one was I going to pick. I did not go with Castles of Burgundy, even though I think the board is pretty ugly.
Never
I don't
played it,
too
but
hideous
it
for this
looks
list.
super
I
ugly.
actually don't mind the original box. It has a burgundy color to it, and the art's okay.
Is
But-
that a Ravensburger game?
Yes, it is. This one is not actually. This is published by Hutch, which I always scream because
Jesus.
it's all capital letters followed by an exclamation point.
oh, so
That's how
then
it's meant to be
it was
read.
Screaming.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't scream that, what would you actually scream?
Are
This
you
came
even
out-
speaking English at that
This
point?
is rated number 109. It came out in 2011, and this is Trajan. The box for Trajan, it's just like a statue.
Yeah.
There's a version where there's white behind him, and there's another version where there's blue behind him. Give me the blue because it's color at least. But I think they actively tried to put as little color on the board as they could, and they were successful. Like, there's no color on the board. It's like, let's put the tiniest amount of color as we can.
They're run out of ink.
Yeah.
They had to have. The player board is almost the same way. The player board is a very drab, light. It's barely beige because once again, there's hardly any beige.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. But this game is so incredibly good. It's still in my top 20 after all these years. And it's because this player board, all of your decisions are made by this Mancala system. And you got 6 sections in your Mancala. And you drop colored action cubes into it. And so let's say this section has 3 action cubes in it. I pick all 3 up and I drop them. 1, 2, 3. Where it stops, that's the action I get to take. So nobody can really fiddle with your player board, so you can plan these turns out way in advance. So you're just setting yourself up multiple turns beforehand, and the colored cube that you drop may give you bonuses. But really, it's this mini game because every bowl is a different action. So you got this board that has no color on it once again.
Of course.
And it's got 6 actions on it, and they're all kind of a different little mini game, but they all work off of each other just in a very unique sort of different way. It's got some set collecting, but it is a very fantastic game that has always been nothing to look at whatsoever. So I think the art is actually worse than Castles of Burgundy because it just isn't anything good to look at all. There's no color. They didn't even try to add color to
Yeah,
this
Burgundy
game.
at least has a color like in the name.
Yeah, right.
So-
It's got a burgundy box at least, and there's some colored tiles, but there's like no color in the game of Trajan. Like
Not even like purple, because isn't it like Roman?
I don't think
stuff?
purple is included. Like the box, the components,
I haven't played it.
it's totally devoid of color. Like there's nothing.
It might not look like much, but it's got.
It doesn't even have a color palette. It isn't one. So.
It's the anti-color.
It's the
palette.
anti-color.
It is above
But
the
Trajan is
concept of
so
color.
so good.
All right.
It's made for colorblind people.
Number one.
Number one.
This is it, Bob.
Oh,
is
don't
it.
blow it.
So well, it's kind of ironic that you say to blow it.
Oh God.
Because this is one of my favorite games. It's one of my favorite introductory games. The art on the box is atrocious.
Oh.
The art on some of the cards is pretty atrocious. It does have one of my favorite components in the form of a volcano that you get to shove people into.
Oh, it's so
But
good.
the
Deserving.
downfall of Pompeii.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so bad, but the game is so much fun.
That
Like,
game
is.
that game needs to be on my list.
Yeah.
That game is ugly as hell.
Yeah.
It's
But I
so
love playing that game.
it's such a fun game.
I will never not play that game.
I'm seriously debating about trying to figure out a way to make a large version of it, right?
Yeah.
And just cut little foam bits out for the pieces, you know, that you can like and really just go chuck.
It's
them
just
into
making the
volcano.
volcano part would be the hardest part.
That's not even that hard part. I think making a large board. I'd have to get like
Yeah.
a large.
Because the large board has to have the artwork of the buildings on it and
Right.
stuff. So that's the
correct.
hard,
At least
yeah.
like close to it.
Right.
But yeah, but getting that printed, maybe I'll talk to Andrea, right?
Yeah.
She makes those big
Yeah,
screen
that's
things.
it.
Yeah. But this would just be amazing. So yeah, part of the game is you're playing these cards and you're bringing people into the city. And then like the eruption card that you draw is fine. It's just got a volcano on it. But which cards you're playing with the buildings on there, they're plain. They're drab. There's nothing
Yeah,
to them.
and they're not even they're
even
not even like
themed or
super
anything.
intuitive all the time.
Yeah,
you
like I
know?
mean, like it is kind of nice, like how like because some of the building colors, like building 10 has a section for 3 people and a section for 2 people, and they do have like little guys on there to kind of inform you of that.
But until you play a
But
couple times,
you
you're
don't
kind of like,
notice
where
that.
does this go? Like,
Yeah, but
okay.
the gameplay is great.
Oh my gosh.
it's so much fun. It's like, oh look, lava. Oh look, there's a bunch of your pieces.
Yeah.
Into the volcano you go. Yeah. Oh,
So
an omen
good.
card. Let me just go chuck this guy as a sacrifice to the gods. You know.
So
Yeah,
good.
It's so much
It
fun.
is so good. It's such a good game. What a good pick.
Yeah. Thanks.
It is a great pick, and I finally got to play it last weekend.
Oh, do you? Oh,
Yes.
sweet.
First time. I've had it in shrink for like
Okay.
7 years.
I must know, who did you play it with?
Ooh, Darcy was her name.
Yep.
Okay.
Bob.
Yep.
And
Paul.
Paul.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I know
The
Paul.
4 of us. I think you've met Paul before.
He's been at stuff lately a lot.
Yeah.
But not that Paul.
He was at the last.
Different.
Julia
No. Yeah.
Con.
No. Julia Con. Paul. Different Paul.
Oh,
Indianapolis.
Julia Con. I forgot that was last weekend, so never mind.
I was
know
there
I know
either.
2 Pauls that play with us, and it's neither of those.
Correct.
Cool.
No, but you play with a fantastic group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
That's
You know,
good.
the other thing that got me about that, like the volcano's cool and chunking people in it, but I was on the side where the volcano is blocking part of the board,
One of the
and I'm
exits.
like,
I did point it out. I said, "There's an exit behind the volcano here, so make sure you see that one." But it ended up being like him and Paul. Was it you and Paul? I think
We
it was.
tied.
Yeah, I had 7 people out each, and then they left the volcano, and there was the most people I've ever seen in a volcano
Oh.
because like a big circle of people like had their exits blocked, and so they're just like into the
That's
volcano.
so good.
But it was what I think 13 each inside the
Yeah.
volcano. Tied. Yeah.
double
tie.
tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So I
game.
took the victory.
I think it was very early in the game. I think I just chose to block an exit. I'm like, well, if
Yeah.
I can't get my guy out, then none of y'all
Nobody's
getting out.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah, there was
I
a
love
big,
that.
all those
massive
people and
I
dump.
love that game.
Yeah.
It's
so
really good.
much. I love that game.
So happy I
much.
finally played that.
Man, so good.
All right.
All right, my number one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait because I think Mike and I got the same number one.
Oh,
Interesting.
So
I think we do.
Tim's calling
We
audible. He's
did.
gonna go out
I
of order.
wasn't sure if I talked him into it or not, but it was
Oh
a very
no,
easy
it was.
choice.
It
Already on the
was.
list.
Very easy choice.
It was number one. The second we decided that
Yes.
was the list.
Okay.
Okay, so
I thought so.
skip to Dan.
Okay, well, mine's going to be a little boring, so I'm interested in whatever they're going to do. The reason why this is my number one is because there are only 2 things people talk about when it comes to this game. Before they play it and after they play it. After they play it, they say it's one of the best games they've ever played, and before they play it, they say, what an hideous game.
I'm bored already.
And that's Fantasy Realms.
Oh,
It just
yeah.
had to be number
Yeah.
one for me. It's already been mentioned,
Yeah.
but the first thing every single person says is that game is ugly.
It's
And
almost
then
so
you play
ugly
it.
that you're worried
You
that
kinda,
people won't even give it a shot.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you play it, and everyone I have ever played with has said
Yes.
that is one of the best games I've ever played.
Or
It
they
is-
say, let's play this
play
again.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic. I mean, that literally
is.
happened with this is jumping conversation a little bit, but I have a remix now.
Yes.
And I played it with my family, and immediately when the game ended, my mom said, "Can we play that again?"
Yes.
Like, it happens
Every time.
Every
Except
time.
Remix has fantastic
art.
Fantastic. And I'm picky about my Marvel
Right, and the
DC
iconography, the
art
way
and
they work
everything.
that
Yeah.
in is great too. But anyway, Fantasy Realms again, it had to make my number one because it's that good and the art is that
bad.
bad. Like it had that perfect mixture for me.
Yep.
So
Correct.
that's it.
Correct.
Nope, good choice.
Great choice.
I knew I'd have some crossover by putting it on the list. I'm actually surprised it wasn't a 3 or 4-way crossover.
Well, I don't own it, so I
Yep.
forgot about it.
Well, that's
Same.
all right.
But it is a great. I don't
a great
own.
pick.
I don't own Downfall of Pompeii either.
Yeah.
And again, like, oh, that should have been on my list. That's
Yeah.
a great game.
I went through my BGG
It's so
collection,
ugly.
which has every game I have marked as played
Oh, sure.
as well.
That's
So I have
smart.
everything.
I gotta start
there.
keeping track of that.
Smart.
BG stats, baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided last weekend that we were going to make a list of games that were ugly that we loved. I was like, oh, okay, here's my number 1. What
Everything else
else?
from there.
What are the other 9? So this game came out in 2013. It's got other publishers, but Rio Grande is the biggest one. Designed by Matt Gertz. It's currently ranked number 21.
They're wrong. It should be number 1.
It should go even higher because, well, the amazing thing, I was looking at the historical ranking really quick. It came out in 2013, but in 2016 it was in the 40s. 2017 it moved down to the 30s, and now it's 21. It's actually
It's still
gotten
gaining steam.
higher
Yeah.
as a 10-year-old game, which most games do not do.
Yeah,
Newer
yeah.
games will come in,
Dominion is
supplant
not
them,
climbing.
Right.
and
You
move
know?
them down. But that is because Concordia is one
Concordia.
of the greatest games ever made. I will give this a 10 out of 10 for the rest of my life.
I love Concordia.
is the perfect board game. I just cannot say enough about how good it is. But the art is freaking terrible.
It's ugly. The box alone.
Yeah.
I
They
would not want
redid
to
it.
play it because the box art is
They-
so ugly.
Yeah, in fact,
I was actually gonna say, do you think that's why it's climbing? Is because people aren't playing it, and it's slowly
but
getting
people
more
keep
people.
talking
That
about
word
it.
of
Like,
mouth is-
fine,
yeah.
I'll try this. Oh my god, this game.
I haven't even played it with any of the expansions. I have
You don't
only,
need to.
I've only played base game Concordia.
I have
and I've heard
them.
Salsa is really good.
Is this
but-
the one with the area control city thing that we've
Yeah.
been talking about? I knew this was gonna be your
Yeah,
number 1.
so
I've only seen it.
And
route
it's-
building,
and
you're buying cards that improve your
But
actions.
you play the cards that are your actions, and you have to play a card to pick up your actions.
Right.
You know, and things
It's
like
got the
that.
Ankh battle system mechanic.
Oh, it's so good.
The art has so it's got all these unique things, and it's like you're building up Rome, and then you're building these cities, and you're trading resources, and it has a really good card mechanic. So they have a picture of a lady on the box holding grapes
Yeah, that's Concordia.
in a dress. Yeah.
Does she have like a jug too?
Maybe.
She might have a jug too. There's a
You would notice
merchant
the
next to
jug.
her.
Wow.
I don't know. The box art is bad. And in the original version, the lady's face is awful.
Oh, it's really bad.
There were so many complaints
Yeah.
about how the face was drawn that they redid the box cover. Now, they should have just done something totally
Completely different.
Instead, they just made somebody recreate
the guy
the
was-
original box.
Yeah, he's in there doing the graph and stuff at their business meeting. He's like, okay, so the lady with the grapes, right? We're keeping
Yeah.
that.
So
It's very important.
they literally just redid her face.
They made it so she wouldn't scare as many small children as she did the first time.
This box is just awful.
Oh.
I mean, I would have bought and played the game years ago if it wasn't so ugly. Like the
Yes.
board doesn't look good. It's got a brown scoring track. It just there is nothing about this game
it's
that
ugly.
goes, wow, this will end up being one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
And then you play it and it's so elegant and you have to pay attention to other players and it's
Yes.
got player interaction.
Yeah, because you have downtime, but you don't, because it's very important what other people
Paradox.
do on their turn.
You're paying
because
attention.
You have to pay attention. You must pay attention.
I think this game handles the mechanic of time better than any game I've ever seen because there's a bonus you can get if you collect resources at a certain time, but it's a chip that goes around the board that tells you when you get that bonus. So you're like kind of, oh, I need resources so bad, but I'm going to wait for Bob to grab resources so that it comes to me on my next turn. But also all your cards stay out and you got to reset them. Well, you might really want to do that action again, but you can't till you reset your hand. It just really
it.
does an incredible job of making you wait to do certain things and set up other things.
And you're not even mentioning the set collection aspect of the card, when you're picking up the cards and everything, and how important that is.
Yeah.
You can't even, you cannot ignore that. You have to actively, try to do stuff with that just as much as you are down on the board itself, building your routes and getting into the cities and doing all that stuff. I mean, it's
There's another thing this game does extremely well that's one of my favorite things in a game, where the game starts off and I'm buying these cards because they allow me to do actions I can't currently do. And so I'll keep buying these cards for their actions, but there's this shift where you're like, oh, the game might end. I need to start paying attention to the points that I can get from these cards, because all cards do both. It's like, yeah, it'll be great if this will score me points at the end of the game, but it needs to work in this kind of strategy that I'm going for.
Because
also,
that's your ticking clock for the end of the
if
game.
you can get them both to do both, even better. But sometimes a card will work better for its action, and other cards will work better for the points. But man, I can't say enough good things about Concordia. It's a 10 out of 10. It'll be in my top 5, I think, until the day I die. I just absolutely love that game.
This game has officially been completely overhyped for me.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, no,
And these guys haven't played it.
No.
We got to get a game of Concordia so you can see why we gush
meta.
about
Yeah,
it.
you're right.
I don't know.
Damn it.
Listen, hey Mike, we'll have an After Dark episode. We'll talk about ways that you could improve the box art that would draw Bob in to make him want to play. But no, we wait 2 years without talking about this game. Then we play it and be like, oh yeah, you guys like this game, right? And then we'll play it. And then
Well, give it a couple weeks and I'll forget what game you're talking about.
That's fair.
The name Concordia is
forgot
so forgettable to me. You talk about it all the time, and I'm always like, oh yeah, that's that one game,
that
right?
you guys love.
The art, the theme, the name, like all of this works against a fantastic game.
Yeah.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
Man,
They should
it's a
just
shame.
call it Trading in the Mediterranean.
Yeah. Well, it was taken.
Oh,
It was-
by every other game. Oh,
So that's our
boy.
top 10 of the ugliest games of all time that are still fun to play.
Yeah, why
But
don't we? Oh,
wait,
go on.
there's more.
Oh, we're gonna do honorable mentions.
There's more.
Let's just go around for a couple honorable
I go
mentions
for it.
really fast, and then we
I got
can
a
run
couple.
through our top 10.
'Cause I have a lot of
Athos was
ugly
the only other
games.
one that I had on my list that I thought was ugly. And there was one, too, I was trying to look up the name of it. I can't remember, but it was ugly as hell, too. We played it at Andrew's house, where we were going to, you could either try to steal the paintings or try to buy the paintings. You remember what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
That was ugly, too, but I can't remember. Like, the art was just very dumb.
No, I can't remember what that
Sponportia?
was.
No.
Yeah, no.
I was trying to look it up. I
I
couldn't
don't think
remember
I
the name.
played that one.
Yeah,
I think
no,
you're
you're
right.
It's
totally
not
right.
Fresco,
Yeah.
is it?
I was
No.
trying to
No.
think of that too,
Fresco's
and I
ugly
didn't
too,
even
though.
realize that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah,
because-
it's like a 6-player game, and like
Yeah.
everybody's choosing whether they're going to go to like the auction or if they're going to go do
Yeah, because
something else.
I was trying to think of that, but my brain kept thinking of this other game called like Suspicion or something, and that's not that one.
No.
But that's what I was trying to think of. You're right.
Yeah, I
So-
couldn't think of it. So,
for my honorable mention, because you just
Mystery game.
inspired me,
Yeah.
I will throw an entire game company under the bus.
hello.
Queen Games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty ugly.
Sure.
I think the reprints on Felds are better, but older Queen games, I agree.
I mean, they're all kind of just ugly. Yeah.
Well, maybe it's because they're taking really ugly games and making them less ugly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
Well, no, they're good. So it's not a pig. It's just lipstick on an ugly person.
Lipstick
Whatever.
on a really
cooked.
attractive pig.
Somebody
They
loves
are on
bacon.
my plate.
A game that I would be in the minority because I say it's ugly because I personally just don't like the art is a Dice Throne.
Okay.
Oh,
mean, I
yeah.
think they're-
I thought you were going to mention that.
Well, I'll have to like it more.
That's true. Good point.
I enjoy it. I enjoyed the Marvel version enough to recommend it.
Right, but you also like the art more, so that cancels that out
slightly,
too.
but I also don't love
Right.
some of the art. I like some of it, but not other bits.
This
blah,
may
blah,
not
blah.
be the best time to revisit this question, but I asked you about what you thought of the art of Wonderland's War, which is sitting to my right over here behind me.
I have only ever seen the box cover, and I
And-
think that looks cool.
I find it interesting because it's the same artist that did Dice Throw.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Which
yeah.
one is that?
Manny Tremblay
Oh, okay.
is the artist.
Okay. I don't know. I like that. I like the Cheshire Cat on the cover.
I love the art for Wonderland's War, so that's
Do you
why
like the art for Dice Throne?
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just the people's weird.
I
Like
start looking at it
overly-
more, and it's the same style, and
Sure.
I don't mind it. But man, it really shines in
I
Wonderland's
think
War. It's the same art.
Sorcerer
artist.
City is an ugly as hell game. I
Yeah,
think that
you
game
also
is
don't like it,
So
right?
ugly, but I don't like it.
yeah.
It makes a terrible use of its color. It has so much color, but like it doesn't work at how
Sorcerer
it's blend-
City, yeah.
Yes.
What do you mean? It's you put the blue next to the blue. I don't know what you're talking about. Forget about it.
The box
Hey.
cover. The box cover.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, yeah, they could do
Um,
so much more with that.
The only honorable mention I had was I had 11 and I took it down to of 10, and that was I always forgot to say it's like Shin or something. It's the QIN Pagoda game I talked about recently, towards like a area control game, and the tiles are just like, domino like colored, like, oh, this is the red land and this is the blue land.
Oh, sure.
And it's just like that kind of stuff.
This is a good land.
Yes. And we will call it this land.
This land.
Man.
I have a few honorable mentions that I'll high level overlight here real quick. High level overview. There we go.
There it is.
Dark
Found
Moon. Dark Moon, just none of the art's any good, honestly. Maybe the character art.
I thought about it.
Yeah, the character art is decent, but like it's only on your reference card. But the box isn't that good. The board is really
Yeah,
bad.
the board.
Yeah,
leaves
no,
some to be
this
desired.
I didn't write it down, but I thought about it when I went through my collection. You're right. Dark
Yeah.
Moon has a very I don't think it's
I like,
hideous, but
I like
it's
the gritty style of the board, but the color scheme itself just
right. Well, it's all just like gray electronic pieces, basically.
yeah, and like
is,
a
like,
locker,
everything.
like
Yeah,
it
and a
just-
locker.
yeah, like it's not that good. So this one, the art on It's a Wonderful World is totally irrelevant, but the fact that they tried to make this dystopian universe by, let's draw this guy whose face is on every blue chip in the game, and then let's draw this red faction where this lady's face is on every chip in the game. And I hate how the faces are drawn on these two people, and they're
really?
on dozens of
I
chips that
never
you
looked
acquire.
that close, but I love that game.
I
And
do
think
not.
That game's beautiful.
I finally played at Julia Con. I thought the game was fantastic. I think the card art is really good. I cannot stand the box art. I don't think it's any good.
The name of the
I like the
game
box art.
Put me off. Like, I don't know what this is.
I don't like
I
the
don't wanna
way
play
they
this.
drew their faces, and their face are tokens, and it's just like, oh, cool. I'm drawing a token with this guy's face on it.
Sure.
I already didn't like it the way his face was drawn.
I'll get you a homebrew where it's
Oh,
my
good.
face on all the tokens.
Well, you're gonna make me like the game even less, I guess.
Dang.
But as long as it's not a drawing of your face, then it'll probably be better than what's
Dagnabbit.
in that box. Northgard Uncharted Lands. Bob and I talked a little bit
Yeah.
about this and whether we wanted to put it on our list, and I'm going to, and here's why. We finally played it at JuliaCon. Turns out it's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
It's a light. I don't want to say light.
No, I
the
wouldn't say
deck
light.
building is light. It's
Sure.
a medium light game that is. It's kind of 4X light. I
No,
guess, if
it's a
you
cross
will.
between Carcassonne with Arnak mechanics.
Is this not the video game one?
It's
Yes.
the
Oh, it
video,
is.
it's based
Yes,
on the
we
video
played,
game.
Yeah, we played.
Yes.
We saw it at
Origin or Gen Con.
Gen Con.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like,
Minis
but
were
then
small.
Minis were small, and like the way they were doing the setup was not very interesting at all, and they were kind of complaining about the
Spencer,
setup.
the
Spencer
tiles-
played it.
Yeah.
We did too.
Oh,
We
and
actually played
it's
the
a
whole
good
game.
The tiles are very generic looking,
Yeah.
like extraordinarily generic looking tiles to where when I walk past it at Gen Con, I'm like, okay, not interested anymore. Like that's what the art did to me. So that's why I wanted to mention that one. Ponzi Scheme is a game I put on our underrated list. I think it is a really unique, cool game of trying to run other people out of money and make deals that they have to take because they're running low on money. The box art, terrible, just truly terrible. I there's no excuse for how poorly drawn the box art is for Ponzi Scheme. I'm sorry.
Different game, but QE is ugly.
Really?
Yeah, it's colorful.
I don't hate it.
I don't mind it.
I mean, I,
don't
didn't
mind
hit it enough to put it on my list.
Oh
but I'm like,
wow,
it's ugly.
okay. And then I had Catan as an honorable mention
Yeah.
because all of it's not
Abyss.
very good
That
looking.
game's ugly.
What?
I'm just kidding. It's
Wow.
beautiful.
I was
was
actually
straight
about
up
to leave
offended.
this time.
I just wanted to watch Bob's head spin around one more time.
Yeah.
while I came again.
In slow motion.
Yeah,
Get
and
the
I,
hair.
and I could have thrown way more Stefan Feld games on this list.
yeah.
Castle Burgundy doesn't look that good. Rialto's hideous. So
All
I'm
right,
glad
so-
they're reprinting.
Yeah, I can't find that
So,
one.
so real fast, Bobby, what was your top 10? I warned you. I did. I said after honorable
My way
mentions.
so much faster.
Okay, so Ravensburger, pick one.
Yeah.
I picked two.
Pick one.
Terra Mystica, Caverna, OG Brass, Terraforming Mars, Catan, Game of Thrones, Dwarven Miner, Coimbra, Hansa Teutonica, and The Downfall of Pompeii.
Yeah, some good games on there. I've got Ven, Tammany Hall, Dune, Terraforming Mars, Catan, Smartphone, Lords of Vegas, Letters from Whitechapel, Cthulhu Wars, and Concordia.
Dan's list consists of Flashpoint, Fire Rescue. I have to kind of scroll up and down because kind of like Tim, they're not written in order. Betrayal at House on the Hill, Firefly, the game, Home Stretch, The Colonists, Ra. This is so confusing. Battlestar Galactica, the board game, and then Puerto Rico, Tales of the Arabian Nights, and Fantasy Realms.
The Godfather, Corleone's Empire, London, first edition, Fantasy Realms, Biblios, Fantasy Realms, both editions, 7 Biblios, Ra, Deus, Orleans, Ethnos, Trajan, and the amazing game of Concordia.
The most amazing game of all time, apparently. All right, guys, be sure to let us know what games you love that are ugly. Let us know why we're wrong. Why those games that we think are ugly are beautiful, or they're just bad and shouldn't be
Yeah,
on our list
right.
because we like them.
Yeah,
supposed to
the game's
list the good
ugly
days.
and terrible.
I
I don't know what
don't,
you're
yeah, I
thinking.
don't care. Pick a reason. Comment on the YouTube video. Let us know. Let us know what you think. Also, you can find us on Discord. If you stayed this long, we'll invite you to the Discord, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
And give us a subscribe. We're so close to 2K.
Yeah, we want to
So
give away some more stuff. We're going to give away some stuff. We don't know what yet, but it's going to happen.
Figure it out.
It's going to happen.
You get one Tim.
Ooh. We want people to
Gizmo-
subscribe.
sorry.
That's right.
You guys cannot give me away because that would hurt the channel by whoever we send.
We just
to.
lost
We
50
could
subs.
sacrifice them like live on
Now,
our Patreon.
now
we're
they're
talking.
going. Now they're
going
going.
into a volcano.
Yeah, what?
Operators are standing by.
This game's so much fun. And that's how they made Mordor.
Wow.
Science.
Spoilers.
Science.
Well, they don't throw a guy in a volcano.
Science
Spoilers.
spoilers.
That's Joe.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
I'm Bob.
Mike.
Dan.
We'll see you next time.